Hello?
Hey, Coffee Doug, it's Aaron.
Aaron, how are you, pal?
I'm good. I just got done watching this movie, 976 Evil, and I had an urge to call you to see if you've seen it.
Dude, I just got finished watching that very same movie.
Man, that's kind of creepy because I got Chris on the other line. Chris, have you seen this movie?
I have seen that movie, and it's fantastic. I think we should do a podcast on it. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right, first time the Four Horsemen are going to join up and do a podcast, four-panel style.
976 Evil. We watched it so you don't have to, so you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad it's scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad it's scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. Today is a very special day. It's a first for the Horrible Horror podcast. With me is not just my co-host and best friend, Aaron Southworth. Aaron, say hi.
Hello, everybody. How's it
But
going?
we also have an all-star panel of Horrible Horror guests. We have our family members, Mr. Coffee Doug Jones
Howdy.
and Mr. Chris Samples.
Hello.
So this is our first four-way on the show, and today's movie is a 1989.
Once you have one four-way, you never go back.
Exactly.
All the time.
We can maybe say it's a fearsome foursome.
Fearsome foursome. We did 976 Evil. Released on March 24th of 1989, so just squeaked in there under the 80s window. For all you people curious about watching it, you can find it on Amazon and Vudu for a sweet $2.99 rental, or iTunes for $3.99. Did anybody else find it any place else other than that?
Amazon.
Amazon.
They also did have it on YouTube again for rental as
Rental
well.
on YouTube.
And there was a minute 14, 1 hour 14 version of it. So they cut off.
That would be a lot, which might make
Yeah.
sense to me because there's so much in this movie that I think it would just cut out.
True.
But they wasted a lot
Yeah,
of stuff.
and honestly, the person who uploaded it did a really shit job, so I
All
wouldn't recommend it.
It is a runtime of 92 minutes.
Is this the one that's hard to find, or is it the sequel?
That's probably the sequel. It
Yeah.
did,
I think the
this movie
sequel was
did-
like straight to video cassette or something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Wasn't even.
Okay.
Yeah, 976 Evil 2, Call If You Dare,
Yeah.
or something like that. The movie was written by Brian Englund, I'm probably butchering his name, and Rhett Topham, again, butchering these names, Topham, Topham, or whoever. The claim to fame for this movie, or a unique fact, is it is the directorial debut of Mr. Robert Englund. It is
Freddy
directed by
Krueger.
Freddy Krueger himself.
Right in Freddy Krueger's like heyday too.
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, that's
Right.
what led him, I think, to get this job.
Right.
So it was pretty funny when
I-
I read that it was Robert Englund. It said Roddy. Robert.
Roddy.
Yeah.
Right.
Freddy Krueger. Robert. Freddy Krueger.
Englund.
England.
Yeah, Englund by Freddy Krueger. It's like Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Right,
right.
Freddy Krueger.
So this was made in 89?
89.
I didn't know, but wasn't it in like 88, 89, 90 where he made like 4 Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
Right.
How
Right.
the fuck did he find
He
time
was
to
a
direct
busy
this?
man. He was-
I didn't think of that until you said it.
Well, I
although,
mean,
to
let's
me,
be honest.
this
What else
movie-
was he doing besides Freddy Krueger, though? I mean,
Yeah.
I think he could do that fucking job. in his
to me,
sleep.
this movie was obviously done very quickly.
Uh-huh.
I have major issues. But anyway, this was one of his only 3 directing jobs. His only other 2 things he's directed, he did 2 episodes of Freddy's Nightmare, the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Episodes called Monkey Dreams and Cabin Fever, both in 1989. And then he didn't direct again all the way to 2008, where he directed a movie called Killer Pad. And that's all he's ever directed. The cast is pretty interesting for an 80s horror movie. They got some really good character actors in here, like Paul Wilson, who's got 125 credits. He was in movies like Office Space, which is the cult classic Office Space.
Right.
He did 55 episodes of Cheers. He did several Gary Shandling shows and specials. And one of my favorite credits he has listed is he was in Godzilla 1985, where he was one of the American voiced overs for one of the Japanese dub.
Nice.
So he's playing the Japanese guy doing the American voice for it.
That's
which I thought
hilarious.
was hilarious. Other than that, you have let's see. Mr. Shelby played Greg Collins, who was on The Rock, Armageddon, Independence Day, Fast and Furious, True Blood, the Ben Affleck, Daredevil, Con Air. So a lot of big movies, mostly bit parts. J.J. Cohen, was a big A's guy. Another is Susie, the girl who played Susie, the blonde girl, Leslie Deanne. She has a connection with Robert Englund because she did her other horror connections are all Freddy Krueger stuff with Robert Englund.
Huh.
She did Nightmare on Elm, the Freddy's Nightmare TV show, where she was in the Cabin Fever episode that Robert Englund directed.
She kind of looked like a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
Yeah, she fit that bill.
Yeah.
The
that-
blonde girl,
Yeah.
the jean jacket. You know
Yeah.
who she sounded like? She sounded like Roseanne's friend Crystal on the Roseanne show. You ever?
This is the second Roseanne callback you've done before.
I've seen
Like,
every episode 100 times.
But she was also in Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare with Robert Englund too. Now Marty, the guy who plays Marty, Jim Metzier, he was in Mad Men, Big Love, Dexter, Children. His other horror movies are Waxwork 2 and Children of the Corn 3.
Wow.
I'm going to skip ahead because some of the other ones.
Who was Marty? Refresh
Marty-
It was the PI.
He was the PI.
Okay,
No.
okay.
The biggest thing is Sandy Dennis. Now, most people listening now probably don't know who she is, but she was a big deal in the 60s. I mean, she actually won an Oscar.
Yeah.
She won an Academy Award for her role in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf for Best Supporting Actress. She was also nominated for 2 Golden Globes, one for Best Actress and one for Best Supporting Actress. She was nominated for 3 Laurel Awards. She won in 1967.
What the hell are those?
They're just more acting awards. I don't think they still do them anymore. I don't think so. This was hilarious. She won Best Actress in the 1967 Moscow International Film Festival.
Sweet.
Wow.
Now, the
So
best,
basically, what you're saying is that the roles dried up there towards the end of the '80s, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Now
The milk's gone bad.
Right.
Now the main character is played by Stephen Jeffries. Now this guy, I have to read his IMDb because it blows my mind. He has 52 credits. He was nominated for a Tony Award on Broadway in like the 80s. He did Fright Night, so Twilight Zone, The Chair. So those are his horror movies. And then things take a very drastic, blow your mind career turn.
Gay porn.
Yeah, it started in 1994. He started in movies called Sex on the Beach,
Ooh.
It's a good drink.
Tell Me Something Dirty, Virtual Stud, Mechanics by Day, spelled B-I, Lube Job by Night, B-I,
I was joking.
Leather After Midnight, Latin Crotch Rocket,
Oh.
Just 18 and Gay, Hunk Hotel, Hell's Paradox, Uncut Glory, The Big Screw Up, Leather Virgin, Leather Intrusion, Case 2 and 4, Leather Buddies, Transsexual Prostitutes 1 and 2, Motel Sex, Manhunt, Cockpit, Butt Blazer, Buff and Gay, Black Men, White Men, Quick Study Sex Ed, Private Temptations, Halfway House Hunks, Guys Who Crave Big Cocks, Gay Men in Uniform.
Can I just say that these sound way scarier than 976 Evil?
We get the picture. I think we got it. We got it.
Seaman Training Day.
Stop it.
He's not going to stop. Keep going. I want to hear them all. Come on.
And then that was in 2002. And then he goes back to things like Sick Girl, Mr. Hush, Diary of Rainy Month. And he goes back to like regular movies and TV appearances.
Oh wow.
Hallmark Channel special. Like,
Yeah.
what? What the fuck?
He's like, I was like, that is crazy.
Someone had a wild ride.
I was gonna say there was a dark
What a
period
great-
there, huh?
Yeah.
That was.
yeah.
I just saw that like that blows, but that's hilarious.
He may not think it was that dark. He may have been having a great time.
Yeah.
Oh, there is one
Very
called
good.
Pizza Boy Massacre announced, so that could go either way.
Love it.
All right, so moving on to let's move on to the movie itself. The movie opens with this middle.
I don't know, man. I think podcast over. I think we nailed it.
That's it. We're done. Drop the mic.
Put my walk away. So the movie opens with a middle-aged man in a suit coming out of a rundown apartment building. It has no business being in, which blows my mind. And it's covered in graffiti everywhere. It's spray painted. Like, why is
It
this
was
guy
like the
even...
whole movie's that way. Like,
Yeah.
what town is this? Where it's just like full of litter
like
and
80s
graffiti.
Harlem, or
and-
like, it's the dirtiest city. The man, he's so out of place because it's just like this ghetto rundown punk, and he's like in this suit businessman.
Yes, but he's
But
also
he's-
wearing fingerless gloves.
Fingerless gloves.
Black leather.
Right.
Fingerless
Fingerless gloves.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So he's like walking. You see him walking down the street, and every bar and shop he passes, nail salons, etc. He's kind of stumbling his way down, and in the background we hear like phones ringing. Every time he passes a store, someone answers the phone and like tries to hand it to him, like it's for you, and he's like, oh, he's freaking out, and even a classic like 1980s like phone car ring,
Car phone.
Yeah.
car
Yeah.
phone. I loved it.
Yeah. And I think they were trying to show that the buttons are turning red, like, whoa.
I
But,
know that it was like the LED like this,
but really,
light
it's
up.
like, that's just a
That's how
common
it-
feature.
Yeah, it just light up.
That's how you knew it was ringing.
Yeah. So he ends up in an alleyway, which just happens to have a phone booth at the end of it. And I'm like, who puts a phone booth at the end of an
Like
alley?
the worst place
yeah, they're
ever.
like on the sidewalk, street corners where traffic goes by, not at the end of a fucking dark ass alley.
That's where like street toughs are like, all
was
right,
gonna
let's
say.
let's put this phone booth at the end of the alley. It's like bait. It's like, a little trap for him. Yeah.
Now listen,
Exactly.
this is a true. I only thought of this until with you just saying it right now. In high school, I'm from a small southern Illinois town. We would cruise the gravel roads, drinking or doing whatever, out in the middle of fucking nowhere on the way to the Garden of the Gods. If you've ever heard of that in
Yep.
Southern
Yeah.
Illinois, okay, there was a phone booth placed on the side of a gravel road next to a cornfield, and it had a street light above it that just shone down right on. Shone? Is that a word?
I'll take it.
Shine down.
Right on the fucking phone booth. It was the creepiest, scariest
That would
thing
be
you've ever
pretty
seen.
creepy at night.
You're 15 minutes away from any civilization anywhere.
That's Children of
And
the
they're-
Corn style right
yes.
there, man.
So, I mean,
He
maybe
who
these-
walks behind the rose is gonna come out.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, we have cell phones now. You never see payphones
No.
hardly ever anywhere.
No.
It's a novelty when you do see
How
them.
cool would
but
it be though to have like a phone booth?
Yeah.
kind of in your.
Well, that's because like
house
that's
or
what they're
something,
thinking. Like old phones that become like
Yeah.
novelty things people
Right.
buy and put
But
in their home.
like
It
what Doug
become a
was
thing.
saying, you did see him in some really weird places. So it's not
Again,
too
but if
big
it's like
stretch.
along the side of a road, I get it, but not down like a dark fucking alley where no one's gonna see it.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, the man he finally decides to answer the phone. He's all timid about it, but as soon as he touches the receiver, we hear the sound of him getting shocked and electrocuted, and it's a really shitty visual effect to go along with it. But he gets electrocuted, and then the glass explodes in the phone booth, and the man spontaneously combusts and is engulfed in flames. And then we're treating some shitty wire work that, as the phone booth explodes, like C4 is attached to it, the man goes flying back near the entire length of the alley.
Right.
But this wire work's so bad because you can see the wires on the screen, and he fly back, and then he gets like
Twisted.
he's flying
Yeah.
upside
Yeah.
down. It's so awkward.
And they try to cover it up with effects of fire.
Yeah.
But you can just see it's like he's flying through the air and it's like, whoa, one of the wires like got tangled. He goes, wee.
Yeah,
Turns
it's like
upside down.
upside down. It's awful. Look, it's so bad.
You know they only had the money to make that shot once.
Once,
Right.
You know,
We
like,
can't do
this
it
is
again.
This is it. Okay, let's try and cover it up with effects.
So now we cut to a group of older kids, either in their late teens or early 20s at this point. Later we find, I guess they're supposed to be high school kids, but they look older than that.
Yeah.
And they're playing poker in a projection booth of the El Diablo movie theater.
It plays continuous horror
Horror movie,
marathon.
at least that weekend or whatever.
All they
Yeah.
show is
yeah.
horror movies, yeah.
Uh,
$2 a seat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a deal. So one of the guys, Spike, and I'm like, what a fucking classic 80s name for a punk kid.
Love it.
Spike. He loses the hand. He loses his.
He's desperate for that ponytail too. By the way.
Yeah, he is.
He's
Man
trying.
bun. Yeah,
He's
man
trying
bun.
to get that ponytail. He's pulling back that hair tight.
So he loses the pinks up to his Harley in the poker hand. But he's like, but now if I get the cash by tomorrow, I won't. And so we jump to the house of Aunt Lucy, who is played by the Oscar award-winning Sandy Dennis. And her house is covered or filled with furniture that's covered in plastic, along with like 15 cats.
Cats everywhere.
Cats everywhere. And we're introduced to the main character, Hoax. That's his name, Hoax. Hoax.
I
Probably
found that
the
weird, too.
worst name I've ever heard for a movie character.
To be perfectly honest, I love his name. I love the name Hoax. I think it's unique. It's clever. It's like, but it should be for like a prankster.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
but or maybe one of the punk kids, but this guy is like raised by a religious zealot woman, and he's supposed to be your big silly nerd dork guy. His name, I don't know. He does not Hoax. It's just it bothers me. Like, who came up with that name, and why was that approved for this script? I hate it.
And in the background, she's obviously listening to like televangelists.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
listening to
all
a
she watches is
Didn't
like
the voice
televangelists.
kind of reminded me of Robert Englund.
That's because it was Robert
Aha.
Englund.
Oh,
Oh, really? I
what
was
do I
looking
win?
for his voice.
What
Good
do I
call,
win?
Chris. I didn't catch that.
1 point for Chris.
All right.
Wow. You want the extra Jello shot, buddy? It's all yours.
He's sitting there on the couch eating a chocolate bar, and he's wearing what can only be described as children's pajamas
For an adult.
for an adult. And he's reading a National Geographic magazine just so he can look at the nude pictures of tribal women.
Yeah. he
Well,
wants
don't
to
act
see-
like you didn't do that when you were a kid. Come on.
Maybe in like 6th grade, but not in high school.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So Aunt Lucy, the super
I did it
religious,
in high school. Sorry. Is that wrong?
When you're bored, you're at school, you gotta find porn somewhere.
Yeah, go to your school library. It's right there. There you go, kids. Go to National Geographic School Library, find tits. So a super religious woman, Aunt Lucy, she comes in and she's like, "Aren't you eating that chocolate?" Blah blah blah. And she's been all annoying. And we learned that Hoax and Spike are cousins, and that Spike lives in basically like this guest house above the garage in the backyard.
Well, it's separated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
above the
separated.
Like
garage, yeah.
Fonzie in
Right.
the Happy Days.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
And the best part about his setup is that he has the equivalent of basically a drive-up bank teller's bank tube,
A pneumatic tube.
a pneumatic air suction tube that with the container in it,
Canisters, yeah.
canister that shoots notes and other objects from his room to the main house. And I'm like, what?
Like at a bank.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. At a bank or like a Walgreens pharmacy drive-thru or whatever. Yeah.
And he sends these notes, and you think he'd write something down. It's almost like
Yeah.
primitive text messaging. If you
Yeah,
think
it
about
really is. It's the primitive instant message.
Instead of calling his cousin and be like, "Hey, cousin, what's up?" He just wants to send him a little note, but he writes like 2 words.
Like,
Yeah.
hi, Spike.
Yeah.
Spike. Spike.
Hoax.
Yeah. Like, who else is it from?
Signed
Right?
So Spike's in his room and he's flipping through a magazine when one of those little ad cards flops out. I don't know the technical term for it, but and it reads, "For your horoscope, dial 976 evil." And horoscope is spelled horror, HOR, as in the movie genre, and instead of the
Not
astrology or whatever.
horoscope,
Yeah.
horror-scope.
And the O in scope is a pentagram, so scary.
I guess what 976 numbers were like the pre-900 numbers or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's all like the sex talk and
Right.
like
'Cause
horoscopes and all sorts of stuff.
That
back
honestly
in the 80s.
confused me because I remember in 1987, 88, 89, there was that's when the 900 boom happened. It was like, call DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince and talk to them about the
yeah.
new album coming up. It's only $2 a minute. Kids, get your mom's permission.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
and-
like WCW and WWF. had
Right,
one,
talk
like,
to the
talk to
wrestlers.
the superstars during the pay-per-views or something like that.
So I was really curious. I'm like, okay, how do they get their money? And wouldn't that be like a big red flag right off the bat? To
well,
me,
I wonder because it does take place in California. Again, it's not a 1-800 number, so maybe it's not a nationwide thing.
Sure.
Maybe it's just like a local operation. That's my guess.
Did any of you call Miss Cleo? Do you remember
I
her?
never
Call me now,
Call
I
me
mean-
now. Yeah. No, I never called her, but I think everybody remembers Miss Cleo.
I believe she's in.
Yeah, I
prison
never
for
Like,
tax
called
evasion, right?
kids ask your parents about Miss Cleo.
Yeah, she went to prison. yeah. Like fraud or tax evasion.
Yeah, I think it was tax evasion.
She didn't see that shit coming.
So, seeing the card, Spike immediately picks up his phone and dials the number. And the voice on the line, it's first like, "Thanks for calling 976 evil. Dial 666 for your horoscope now."
Nicely done, Marshall.
And then you get like you hear like
job.
like the tape like, and they're like, "Your horoscope for March 18th, 1989 is," and then it goes back to, oh, your money problems will be solved. Do not worry about them. Blah, blah, blah. So
I like that effect. And you did pretty well there, honestly.
I wish we had video right now. That'd be perfect.
So basically, the horoscope tells him to not worry about his money problems for the poker game, and that you're just go take what you want. Your money problems be solved.
Take what's yours.
Yeah, take what's yours. So Spike like, okay, so he sneaks into the main house and is trying to steal money from Aunt Lucy, which is in a fish mouth vase or something like that.
It's like a trophy or something.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
But he's caught by Aunt Lucy, who like flips on like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "The money's mine because it's my inheritance." He's like, "You don't have claim to it till you're 21."
And this was interesting because I was like, okay, plot development.
Yeah.
Well, we lost it.
It
It goes no further than that.
So basically, she keeps his entire inheritance in a fish vase on the top of her refrigerator.
Right.
So obviously, it was not much of an inheritance in the first place, but
She
it's
said
still,
he
it's
has no
weird.
claim to that money until he's 21,
Yeah.
and she'll use it as she sees fit until
Yeah,
that
it was
time
like,
or something.
Yeah, it's really.
And so
weird.
I'm thinking, okay, well, there's a hook right there for part of the storyline. You know, his family's dead. She's taking care of him. What, you know, there's obviously some tension. We got a nice little, it's kind of nice groundwork to build a story upon, and it just never, ever happens.
But at this point, did you notice that the ant's hair is completely different?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
First
that.
time we see her?
Every time you see
Every
Aunt
time.
Lucy,
It's an
it's
ongoing
different.
thing throughout
different
the movie that
hairstyles,
I-
different colors,
Different wigs.
Like, I think she's my favorite character in this whole movie.
Honestly, me too.
You know?
Yeah.
Because she's so extravagant. I
Yeah.
mean, everything she says comes out of her mouth is fucking hilarious.
And I
the
gotta
hair
say,
is completely different throughout every scene that
She's always
in.
carrying a cat.
Yeah, something.
I tended to agree with her in the end, if they would have just listened to her,
Agreed.
everything would have been okay.
Absolutely.
Listen, so she kept that money in the cabinet. This little asshole comes in and he's got a garage to live in on his own. He drives a fucking Harley, hooks up with hot chicks, and if he would have had all his money, he'd have just been gambling it away with those losers in the bars.
Which is what he does the whole movie. He's just gambling and poker.
Doug, you nailed it.
Maybe I'm just old now, but I was like, get that guy out of the house. That little
I never looked at it, but you're totally right. Like Aunt Lucy, like she had it right the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You may not like her that much, but she's got
She's got a point.
she's got your best interest at heart.
So Spike storms out, and Lucy's found like trying to get him to repent and everything like that.
Yeah, she
And-
goes outside, follows like, you can still be a good boy.
And out of nowhere, it starts raining fish.
Yeah.
Keep that. It rains
Hallelujah.
fish.
And
Yeah.
she's
Not
falling-
raining men. It's raining fish.
She falls to her knees, and it's like, this is God's sign for you to repent, and I'm going to do it. You hear me, boy? Yeah.
Though apparently Hoax probably wished it was raining men.
Yeah.
Man, take that Jello shot, Chris. Come on.
That's yours, man.
I love it. So the very next scene, Spike is back in his room on the hotline again when a fish comes through the tube
The pneumatic tube.
with a note in its mouth or
Lands
something.
lands in his laundry basket.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of pissed.
But he picks up the fish, pulls the note out, and then throws the fish right back in his laundry. Okay. Those were clean.
Fuck it.
Not anymore. So the next day, we meet Marty Palmer, who comes to Lucy's door saying he's a reporter for Modern Miracle magazine.
Now, hold on real quick. The note said, cool trick, how'd you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Hoax believes it's a trick, but you're to know that you don't know how the fuck that happened. 'Cause
Right.
Spike
Yeah.
looks at it all weird.
Yeah, I will say I didn't see what the note actually read at the
Yeah,
time. That one because
that's what's
I was taking
Cool trick.
my
How
own
to
saw
do
notes.
it,
that.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Marty Palmer, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
She shows up, wants to interview Lucy.
And he's probably the most confusing character to me.
Yeah.
He's.
Who does he work for?
What's
Why is
going
he
on?
snooping around?
What is his
I don't
deal?
understand.
What even
his
brought him
point.
to?
I totally agree.
You know,
I totally agree with you. His
As
character.
long as I wasn't the only one, I was
No,
like,
I'm right there with you.
there's no backstory there
And
whatsoever.
I think we'll cover him. We'll definitely cover him more as we get.
It
through
doesn't
this.
make any sense.
No, it does not. So we jump to Garden City High School, such a generic name, where Hoax is getting his head dunked in the toilet by the group of bullies and the punks we saw playing poker at the
I
theater.
just call them the goons.
The goons.
Marcus's goons.
I would call them street toughs.
Oh,
Street
street
toughs.
toughs.
And this bathroom, just like everything else, is covered in graffiti,
Just
wall to floor,
covered.
Yeah, who is running the school?
Exactly.
And, like,
It's like the school from, you remember the movie, the 80s movie, The Principal, with Jim Belushi, or
Yes.
Jim Belushi?
Yeah. And Ray Dawn Chong.
Yeah. And,
nice.
it kind of reminds me of that school, because it was just this dirty inner school that just everything's graffiti covered.
Yes, but
and
it's all
run down.
white kids.
I know.
It's not like inner city.
I don't think
shit.
there's a single black person in this entire movie.
And the
At
town
all.
itself looks nice, except for all the graffiti everywhere and
Yeah.
litter all over. Just did the garbage men go on strike?
Well,
Did any sanitation?
I'm also convinced that this town somehow has like 2 hours of daylight every day because the entire movie is so dark. You know what I mean? It's like pitifully dark,
Yeah.
and the streets are deserted. It's like
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So I know some of the graffiti. There was like a Devo spray paint on the wall, and then the favorite one is "Eat pussy more often" is spray painted on the wall in this bathroom.
Good tip.
Good tip.
Noted.
So
Maybe Hoke should have read that. Who knows?
yeah. So Spike comes in and he's like, "Let Hoax go," trying to stick up for him, and then he just kicks one of the kids right in the face, just wham, and he punches the other one, and that was trying to hold Hoax down. And then we learn one of the kids' name is Airhead,
Right.
and he's the third of the four boys.
He's kind of
there.
the big
So you have-
dumb bully. Yeah.
You have Marcus is kind of like the leader. Then you have Airhead, and you have the two other guys who I don't think you even ever learned their names.
Right.
And he tries to jump Spike again, but Spike just throws him around like a rag doll. And afterwards, Spike and Hoax are talking.
Now, hold on, I hate
Okay,
to interrupt
no,
you, but
by all means.
when he went to jump Spike, because this plays in later, so Spike's back is to him beating up the kids at the urinal, if you call it that, because he's doing these weird moves. that
Yeah.
nobody
Right.
used to
Yeah.
do. And you hear the audio go,
That's right.
and so he announces,
Yeah.
I'm about to jump
And
you.
it's
I'm
like-
standing over here.
It's like the longest motherfucker too.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah. And he does that again later. But I was like, why the fuck did you just do that? Who does that?
That's his war cry.
So out in the hallway, Spike and Hoax are talking, and this scene basically shows that Spike does have like a little soft spot for Hoax. And just, even though he is a nerd, a geek, he's like, but he's like, all right, you're my cousin, I'll stick up for you because you can't.
And did anybody else notice that Hoax's hair was instantly dry?
Yes.
Yes, it goes from
Yes.
soaking away in the bed to walks out the door, instantly dry. Totally noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm jumping ahead just a little bit because there's boring shit happening here. And we see some woman with an awesome 80s perm.
Oh God, yeah.
Smoking while walking down a sidewalk at night. Like Chris says, it's always night. And she finds one of the ad cards for 976 Evil, but she burns it with her lighter. And as soon as she does, the payphone next to her starts to ring. She answers it, and the voice says to her, "I thought we had a deal. A deal is a deal." And she's like, "Leave me alone!" And she hangs the phone and walks away. But it's
They keep showing her red heels.
yeah,
too.
the red heels. And she walks past a window display for what I can only guess is a phone store.
A
Because
novelty phone
there's
store.
like
It says,
15 phones in this
It's
window.
actually the Phone Mart.
Oh, Phone Mart.
PHON/Mart.
Okay.
And-
Phone Mart.
And it's all like novelty. It's like
Not all of
hamburger,
them, but there's a hamburger. a
hamburger
fish.
phone,
Yeah,
a
fish phone.
seashell phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
lips,
duck,
they-
the classic duck phone.
The
Oh
duck
yeah,
phone is
yeah.
in there.
Which
And
The only one they're
a
missing was the
red-headed heel
football.
phone.
yes,
Yes.
because that's what it comes into
Yeah,
later.
this
But
the Mickey Mouse phone and the football phone that were big in the 80s. But
so all the phones start ringing.
all ringing around
They're
the
all
clock.
ringing.
Hey, you used to be able to get
just
that football phone from if you ordered
That's right.
Sports
Sports
Illustrated.
Illustrated. Yeah.
or the helmet phone. Yeah.
So she's freaking out. She's holding her head like, no. The phones are ringing, and then
Boom! The windows
Yeah.
just the glass shatters, explodes,
Explodes.
and she's killed by flying shards of glass to her face.
and the red heel phone lands next to her head, and they
Yeah.
pan up. She's wearing the red heels, and the red heel phone's right next to her. And I noticed when all the phones were ringing, and I know that fucking duck quacks. I wish to God
Yeah, right.
you would have heard all this ringing and ringing. And That'd have been awesome.
So it cuts to dinner, or a diner. I'm sorry, where Marty is ordering coffee.
Did you notice the name of the diner too?
Oh, I was
Yep.
yes, it is Dante's Diner. I had to know that.
Yeah.
So Dante, obviously Dante's Inferno.
So we have
exactly.
Diablo's movie theater, Dante's Diner.
Correct.
And so in the background, through the window, we see Spike ride his motorcycle up to a mechanic, a little auto part mechanic shop across the street. and he's there to pick up a replacement mirror for his bike, which we learn belonged to his father. So another. Again, they keep dropping hints about Spike's relationship with his parents who had died. We don't know what happened to him, but nothing really ever comes of it.
Yeah, they keep dropping these little nuggets. You're like, okay, well, maybe something's going to come of it. Nope.
Unless they're trying to show that he's not just he's a big tough guy, but he's a little sentimental too. Where oh, my father's bike, or there's no payoff to
Or
any
he's
of
just
this.
scarred because his parents are dead.
Yeah.
I like the voice there.
Did you like that?
So he's
Gotta
like,
try
I'll
to meet
wait
up
out
with Marshall over here.
Yeah.
I'll go outside and wait. So he goes outside to smoke a cigarette, where he pulls out the 976 Evil card, and he calls a number from another payphone, which are just everywhere in this movie. Apparently,
It just happens to be
Like,
right next to the shop.
every street corner apparently has a payphone here, and and the voice basically says, "A real man has nerves to take what he deserves." Yeah, I'm not. They all almost all his horoscope things rhyme. They're all rhyming.
Yeah.
So
Because Spike was inquiring about like some gloves.
leather
or,
biker gloves.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
those are $20. And he's like, "Oh, okay."
They're real leather.
Yeah.
Sure they are.
Now, I
pal.
will say that demons are supposed to rhyme a lot of times. When you hear demon stories, they rhyme. Like Etrigan the demon, yeah, they're rhyming demons.
That's a good point.
I just wanted to say that. Now I've said it.
Okay. So he goes back into the mechanic all parts store, and he goes up to the gloves. And he's like, "Do you think he's going to steal them?" He's like, "No, I have a change of heart." He puts the gloves back, goes back outside. The phone rings, and he answers it, and the voice tells him the same thing. Like, take what you deserve.
But he sounds like more upset,
Yeah,
like
he's
urgent.
He's like, "You better fucking do this."
Yeah, it's like, a man takes what he wants.
Yeah.
A man takes what he wants.
And Spike's like, "Fuck you!"
Yeah.
And then a female voice comes on and tells him that his horoscope is to look both ways before crossing the street now. And he's like, whatever, hangs up. And of course, he crosses the street.
Without looking both ways.
Yeah. And
Stops in the middle of the street.
well, before we see like this white, I don't know if it was a Camaro or a Trans Am.
It
but
was
this-
a Camaro.
It was a Camaro. Okay.
Bitchin'
And
Camaro.
it's immediately
Yeah.
what I started singing in my head. Bitchin' Camaro, bitchin' Camaro.
So it starts up like Christine style, just automatically starts up. And now Spike stops in the middle of the fucking road.
Stops in the middle of the road to
And he-
get a cigarette out, and he throws all his money. Like, get a fucking wallet, kid. Money just goes.
Everything.
Or quit carrying everything in your jacket
He
pocket.
has like
He's
a
got his whole
bottomless
life in his
pocket.
fucking-
So much comes out of his pocket,
It's-
and it's so awkward. He looks like such a buffoon because you can tell he intentionally like
Yeah,
that. He's like,
right.
"Oh, you gotta get all this out of my pockets."
Gotta-
It's so bad.
I have to
looking.
throw all this stuff in the air.
Yeah.
Blah. It's like 2 packs of cigarettes and like money and
change, yeah,
Yeah.
lighters.
Yeah.
So of course he's in the motion trying to pick it all up now and picking up change. Shout out to the
Ah,
hardcore.
yeah, a little hardcore shout out.
So the car like starts racing towards him and is about to run over Spike when Marty leaps out of nowhere, knocking him aside, saving him.
Pretty much the only good thing that Marty did.
does
Yeah.
in the whole
entire movie.
So the two of them end up at Dante's diner, and we learn that Spike orders his usual, which is a deviled
Egg sandwich.
Yeah.
And this is
Wah, wah.
the first. I have several of these notes, but this is one of the first times I actually wrote this down that I don't understand the point of this scene because it's relatively short, but there's no purpose.
Well,
to
again,
their
like Marty's
conversation
trying
in
to get
this.
information for something we don't know what.
He's asking information about this miracle, the fish storm
Yeah.
or whatever.
yeah.
So he's trying to figure out what's going on here, and he said he said he was from like this
Miracle
gossip,
Magazine.
yeah, Miracle
Modern
Magazine,
Miracle Magazine.
and so he interviewed the aunt, and now he's trying to get more information out of Spike, but he's just like, yeah, fuck you, smoke cigarettes.
It's
and
just
I'm
a
tough.
boring, useless scene. That we are just
Yeah.
basically- we already know he's interviewing, trying to get people. They don't need to reinstate that fact. It's just this is just the first one made to me, in my opinion, that had no business being.
Well, I
in
don't know. I
this
mean, I
movie.
immediately got the obviously that I feel like the Modern Miracle magazine was a lie, and
Or was it?
Or what?
I don't know.
So let's.
So
Hmm.
it cuts now to Spike picking up his blonde girlfriend, who, again, like many home movies we've done, I don't even know her name till like 3/4 of the way to the movie.
I was
It
the same
turns
way.
out to be Susie, but I write that eventually. But you don't know the name forever.
I got Spike picks up his chick.
his badass babe.
Yeah, right.
She is wearing short skirts and tank
She's
top
a
or
little
like
punk. She's kind of punk-esque. Like
yeah,
the
she's
rest
got
of
the
the
little
girls.
metal
the nylon
punky,
gloves.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the-
And
Kind of
Madonna.
stockings.
It's
I
like
noticed
almost got
that.
like a punk Madonna.
Exactly. I was about to say I was like a
Madonna.
little material girl, a little
Nice.
bad girl mixed together.
Like Madonna mixed with Cyndi Lauper or something.
Right? Yeah, that's very
Or
good.
if she's blonde. So they ride off to go smoke cigarettes while having really awkward sex.
Smoking cigarettes while they're having sex.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Smoking while he's, but it's really awkward. And Hoax is watching them through the window through his telescope.
Yeah.
But the sex looks so awkward just because of the position Spike's in.
Yeah, let's look at that
laying,
chair.
like,
It's kind of weird.
He's in this like weird like lounger chair.
He's in a weird
that you
Barca
see it,
lounger.
Yeah, Barca lounger type thing.
It's
But
like-
he's like upside down and with his
His-
feet on the headrest hanging over the arms.
His head's on the footrest.
Yeah.
But his, where it should be, but his legs are hanging over the armrest and the knee, and she's on top of him, and he's like his head's like it's so weird looking.
Worked for me.
And so
It worked for Hoax too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
yeah.
He
So,
probably just saw that and goes, that just looks awkward. I'm sticking with dudes.
so during their
Spied
trip,
on him with that giant telescope, too.
Yeah.
God, it's like
it's like the Hugh Hubble.
it's such a big telescope. It's like he's gonna see just like the closest up ever. Like, what's he trying to see? The pores in their skin?
Yeah, right.
Just the areola.
Yeah.
Only the areola.
So during their trip to the Bone Zone, another message in the tube is sent over, and it's Hoax that says, "Nice babe, Hoax."
Yeah, I couldn't tell what that would say.
Yeah,
I
that was
like,
a nice babe.
He sends this while they're still fucking.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So much for being, trying to spy on them without being noticed. Like, hey, I'm obviously watching.
He
you
has
right now.
no social skills.
No.
Absolutely not.
So while looking for a lighter to smoke another cigarette, Susie finds the flyer ad for the 960 and she then throws her panties at Spike's, telling him to keep them while she puts on a pair of his boxers. And so they leave. And
Actually says it'll give me a reason to come back. And he's like, you don't need a reason to come back. And
He
at
likes
that point,
her.
I was like, is he telling her that she doesn't need to come back? Like, I got what I wanted?
The way I got it is, I think he
Right.
liked her.
I-
He was
I-
like,
I-
yeah.
you don't need a reason.
You don't
Yeah.
need a reason,
That's
baby.
what I figured, but then I was like, that kind of came off.
Don't get me wrong. I thought about the same thing. And I go,
Right.
I think he just likes her.
I agree. I think he likes her. So
I mean,
after-
he did put the gloves back. He's sentimental. I mean, he's Spike, but he's nice.
He's got
Spike.
somewhat of a conscience.
Yeah.
So after they leave, Hoax goes into Spike's room, finds the panties, and starts like rocking the chair they had sex on, like touching, like, ooh, there was sex here. And then it just jumps again to Spike and Susie at the movie theater, where he sends her inside while he heads up to the booth to play poker with the guys. And there's some random girl there now too, who I was gonna mention later, but this girl looks like she's 12. She looks so young in this movie.
She looks a little bit like a young Alyssa Milano. Kinda.
Maybe.
Who's the boss?
Like, who's the boss?
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't.
Anybody back me up here?
No.
No.
You had a
Alyssa-
crush on Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa
on Who's the
Milano
Boss.
was
I did.
way hotter.
That was
I
good.
did. I did.
Okay.
She was like my first like crush, TV crush as a kid. And to this day, like Alyssa Milano, if you ever hear this, I love you. So
You hear it here, folks.
you
Yeah.
hear it here first. So back, where was I?
We brought up Alyssa Milano, and he can't think of a
I
fucking
can't.
thing to say.
He's like,
Anyway, so we go back to Spike's room, and Hoax finds the 976 evil card, and of course, first thing he does is call the number, and the voice tells him that his problem is not as bad as it seems. Just go take a movie and meet the girl of your dreams. And it's like, oh, okay. And again, back to the theater. Spike's playing poker. When his girl Susie walks in, she's pissed off. She's like, "Hey, I'm going home." And he's like, "Here's $20 for cab
This
fare."
is where like
So
Spike totally he's so involved in gambling. He's got to go to Gamblers
weird.
Anonymous.
Yeah, he's got a problem.
He
Well,
was
but-
just talking about how much you love this woman and you don't need a reason to come back and they're on a date and then once gambling starts it's like here's $20 take a cab bitch, you know. Like he
well, in his
completely
defense,
changes.
like he'd been getting his ass handed to him at the poker table for what seemed like a long time, and now all of a sudden he's racking in the money and taking, because he makes the comment, he's like, "I'm gonna take back every penny that those guys took from me."
Yeah,
all tough guy,
he's like about to win the big pot.
and that's a gambler's problem. You're on a win streak. You can't think of anything
Can't
else.
walk away,
Agree.
can't walk away.
1-888 bets off.
So he does go after her, and he catches up with her in the hallway after she's like smacking around a cigarette machine, which there's a blast from the past. You don't
Yeah.
see those anymore. And they make up. They kind of like make up. And to me, it's another pointless scene that has no bearing.
Well,
because they outside, it's like the next time they see her, she's like
pissed.
off at him. Even though they just made up, she's like, I'm so mad at him. And it's like, what?
You just made up with
Yeah.
them. So they make up, and he goes back to gambling, and it seems like they made up, and she's outside, and along comes Hoax.
Yeah, Hoax pops up and startles her. And this is
So
where I
you're
finally
sa-
learned her name was
You're
Susan.
saying the girl gave the guy the go-ahead to do whatever they want, and she was still pissed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah,
ladies
exactly.
and
When does that ever happen?
I was gonna say,
No, I'm not mad.
no.
I'm not mad.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
You're fine then? Yes, I'm
I'm
fine.
fine.
Are you sure, baby? You seem upset. No, I'm fine.
fine.
Okay,
Okay.
that's 3 times.
I'm out.
I'm out. Then you're in the doghouse.
Man.
He doesn't care. He doesn't
You
care.
don't care. So her, Hoax and Susie are outside the theater talking, and she's like, "I'm so mad, Spike," and blah blah blah. And the two of them go off to eat pizza.
Because she says when she's angry, she eats.
And it cuts to her holding a
pizza.
big piece of pizza.
Big-
I eat! And actually, I kind of like that cut. I was like, it's fun.
Yeah, I don't lie. The pizza's actually pretty good. There's a good looking pizza in this movie.
Real cheese, nice and
Real
stringy.
cheese. And so at this point, the movie goes back and forth between Spike winning hands of poker and Hoax and Susie having a great time laughing. at
They're
the pizza.
feeding each other pizza, giggling,
Like, it's just
laughing.
like Hoax is starting to fall for her. He's like, "Oh, she's so great," and Spike's just playing more poker and racking up.
And she's finding him quirky and funny. Like,
Yeah.
oh, he's kind of cute and nice. And she's not quite falling for him, but she's
No,
definitely
but she's like, he's not that bad.
she's finding a friend.
She's having a
anyway.
good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have mentioned this before, but it's not that good. But it's just straight up. It fits the characters. The cards they're playing with are naked women cards,
Nudie cards.
nudie
Yeah.
cards. So the group of bullies led by Marcus, they walk in the pizza parlor. I don't know. They just happen to walk in.
After Spike has completely cleaned them out of. all
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
money they had.
Spike's won. He cleaned them all out. He's gone, so the street toughs are kind of pissed.
Yeah, and they walk in and
They
they
come-
immediately start harassing, picking on Hoax.
And this makes sense because they are cousins, so I could see them being like,
Well,
you
they've
know
been
what?
picking on him the whole time.
That's true, but they're just like,
regardless of Spike.
sweet, another we can let off our aggression.
Well,
Why-
Matt Spike, we're gonna take it on you.
Why did you choose street toughs?
I don't know.
Like, have you heard that before?
Yeah. Have you not
Really?
heard that?
I just feel like if
Something
I
from the 1950s, maybe.
Yeah, it's like something my grandpa would say.
when I
you
was
know?
a kid and
Those
I
are
knew to
youths.
avoid like a certain group of guys that would beat my ass because I was small and scrawny, I didn't tell like my friend with me like, watch out for the street toughs. I love that you use it, but I don't know where you got it. I
like
guess I've never
goons.
heard it.
Goons way better because these were a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
These guys
They
were
talk
like-
goons, too.
Except Marcus. I did like Marcus.
I did like Marcus.
He was like the leader of the goons.
and he had
you know.
like the
He had like
bleached
the robe. He
blonde,
had like the little patch of like
blonde,
bleach,
yeah.
blonde hair.
Yeah.
bangs
Which
or
I
whatever.
kind of liked.
You
It's
know
very
what, though?
80s
Oh, he
skater
was
kind of.
so 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They're
he
all
had like
80s.
the hat with that hair in the hat. I think in another movie, he would have been the goofy friend that made all the jokes that got everybody to
He would've
party.
been- he would've been
John
the
Holmes,
Rob
John
Kreiner.
Holmes movie, or not
Yeah.
John Hughes, John Hughes, not John Holmes.
John
John
Kreiner.
Holmes. Whoa!
Well, you know, Stephen Hoax might have been a
Marshall.
John Holmes
Yeah.
movie. You
Marshall,
never know.
did you watch any of those
Yeah.
movies that you were talking about earlier?
How deep did your research
Yeah,
go?
right.
I have to be thorough, guys.
Is that him? I gotta make sure that's
Gotta
him.
make sure that's him. So yeah, John Hughes. So anyway, yeah. So they immediately start tormenting Hoax in the pizza shop or whatever pizza parlor, and she's like, "Hey, it's my new friend. Hey, cut it out. Stop it. Leave him alone." Until she finds out that Hoax had her panties in his back pocket the whole time, and she's like, "Fuck you, I'm out." And
Yeah,
leave
she's
him to the bullies.
I thought you were different. Later, perv.
Get your ass kicked.
Right.
So the scene suddenly jumps just on the two of the boys beating up a dumpster.
Yeah.
They're so random, like, what?
Yeah.
You know, and then one jumping up and down the dumpster while the other's like kicking the hell out of it. It's like,
And I was looking at this like,
what?
man, I've been bored before, but I've never been that bored.
Yeah. I mean,
know.
at first, like, what's going on? And so because it does make sense because all of a sudden they're kicking, and then just boom, they take off like a cat getting started on nowhere. Just boom, they're gone.
The other thing too is that it's on its side.
Yeah.
It is on its side.
So the lid is on the side
Yeah,
of it
it's
rather than
tipped
on the
over.
top.
It's tipped
right,
over.
okay.
And now it makes sense because the lid falls open and Hoax crawls out covered in garbage with his closed all
My
ripped.
question was, how did the lid stay closed?
Yeah, like why you just
Good
if
point.
they're
You know what I
why
mean?
just
Like-
roll out to begin with?
Yeah.
Why stay
Right.
there?
Why even stay in there?
I thought the same thing.
Once I realized that they were tormenting Hoax, I was like, that's just rude.
That is rude, kind of.
Okay, that's another '80s thing. You totally like. I want to say, didn't that happen in Never Ending Story too? Because they chase the
Yes.
kid down dumps. He
Part
jumps
one,
in,
yeah.
which is a great fucking movie. And he jumps in dumpster and they're like, or they throw him into the. I don't know. That was a big '80s thing, like throwing people in dumpsters.
I'll tell you, those '80s street toughs.
I know.
They
I
just,
know.
yeah, like,
You don't mess with them. You don't mess with them. They'll
So-
smoke cigarettes and throw you in dumpsters.
Once again, there just happens to be another phone booth like right next to him when he comes out of the dumpster. And Hoax calls the hotline again and tells him, like, hey, don't worry about what just happened. They'll all regret it when she is by your side. And to call back later to capture his prize. And
At this point, he's hooked on
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
he's like
he's-
addicted to it.
It's like gospel. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really, really into it.
Even though like everything it said has not worked out to his favor so far.
No.
It's not like
Yeah.
oh, it keeps work. I keep calling, it keeps coming out. So there's like he calls and nothing happens, and he's just getting
Right.
punished.
But
for it.
maybe
So
I can
why
see
would
him
he
as
keep
like,
going back?
these guys ruined it. Like, she was by my side. She was there with me, and these guys ruined it. That's the only like thing I
Yeah,
can think
may-
of.
I
you
could
know?
maybe see
So
that.
now I'm going to get revenge on these
All right,
guys.
maybe.
But then he doesn't focus on revenge on those guys.
No.
He gets revenge on her.
Well, to be fair,
we're coming
he
up on
calls the
that.
number back. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say we
we
see
jumping
shot,
too far ahead, or-
Yeah, it's coming up. Like we see shots of Susie cooking a frozen dinner,
Ah, yes.
and Hoax in his kitty PJs
Which-
again back on the hotline number. So he's called it a second time. It's like in the last hour.
My
So-
question is, why she just left the pizza joint? She went straight home
The cook.
to make a TV dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, is this bitch bulimic? Or
Hey, remember she said when she's angry, she eats.
I guess.
Yeah.
She just
So,
housed the whole
yeah.
fucking pizza, though. And
I
now
know,
She's going home
Maybe
and
he just
eating
has like a
it.
super metabolism, or like, who knows?
Either way. So, yes, he's in his jammies.
It's funny
in the
because-
Back
rocking
is
chair.
jammies.
It's actually going back to what Chris was saying. I actually thought about that myself. I was just like, man, if she keeps eating like that figure's gonna be shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, seriously?
She's a
Bitch,
good looking
just
girl, but
house
that's
the
just gonna be
pizza.
shot. You're eating nothing but pizza and
And the pizza, like, Marshall said, looked good.
Yeah.
She's going to go and
Although
make
maybe
a frozen
they-
fucking
and
dinner.
We don't know how much
Ugh.
time passed. We only see him eat like a slice and a half before the boys come in. So maybe she didn't get all the pizza.
I do find it
she
funny that we're talking a lot about this pizza too.
There was a
wanted. It kind of
slight,
just wants a pizza, man. That was some good looking pizza.
there was a slight nostalgia though when she lit up the oven. Do you remember like she
Yes.
lit
She
the
had
match?
to light the match. the old
Yeah,
gas.
lit the
Oh,
pilot
it's
light.
like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
80s. Man, the 80s.
Oh, it's weird that the pilot was in the. I don't know. The old. We used to have.
Yeah.
The pilot light was underneath, like not in the oven. It was like underneath.
Right.
It. So, anyway, so she's cooking and he's on the hotline, and Hoax draws out a pentagram on his bedroom floor, complete with burning candles.
Well, I kind of like this one though when he called the number. What did it say? It said a small circle of salt and a star within. Adding an insect will punish her sin. The juice of my weed will implant my seed and make you one of my kin.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not writing that all down. So I'm glad you did, because I was
Well,
like,
that
I'm
was
not
the
writing
only
all
one
that.
I wrote down,
Yeah,
but I
this
like
He's got dedication over
That was
here. He's
good.
like, hold on,
Right.
I need to write this
Yeah.
down. He pauses it and
But
Well,
so
to be
so
fair,
but
anyway,
yeah, he
yeah.
does. He does all those
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he draws up, and he's in he's still in his PJs, and he grabs his pet spider, which is in a cage, and he crushes like rose petals into it.
No. It's the
It's-
devil's root.
It's the devil's root, which
Oh, I thought it was rose petals.
it's the
Okay.
devil's root, which the aunt makes she makes tea
with it. Yeah, I was
Okay,
gonna
I thought
to
there was, like,
I
crushed
tried to
up
look up
flowers.
devil's root, but I couldn't find. I mean, I couldn't pinpoint it.
You
Yeah.
notice they all have like. Oh, we'll get to it later.
Yeah,
but
did they explain how he knew? I mean, he's performing a ritual here.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
Like it says, like
does he know how to do this?
That's exactly what I was gonna. Like, he
guess
tells
he
him
just
like,
followed the
make the
instructions.
pentagram and put the salt in, and you get the ingredients, but it doesn't tell him like how to perform the ritual. Like I thought the same thing. How does he know what to do?
well, there
he
was-
accesses a book. He grabs a book and starts looking at it. Do you remember that scene?
No.
Like he
No.
grabs a book. Yes, there's that above shot where he's standing in the pentagram, and then he's drawing everything up, and he grabs a book and kind of looks at it. And the only thing I can think of, maybe, is because his mom is such an incredible religious zealot. She might have some, books on beware of witchcraft kind of things.
Oh,
I mean,
see, I
I
don't think
didn't see the
I think
book
she's.
part.
I
I'm
think she'd be one who she wouldn't dare have anything that would be anti-Christian in her house.
no, I'm saying something that would be like, beware of this. If,
I didn't really notice him
as a
do
Christian.
anything
I didn't
other
know
And
than
I'm-
what the.
And
what
I'm
the,
stepping out on a limb by even
You
saying.
know, Lucy's one of those people who's like, Harry Potter's the devil.
Yeah.
Ban Harry Potter.
Well, I didn't notice him doing anything different than what the voice on the phone told him
Yeah,
to
I
do.
missed
I
that
mean,
part.
he made the salt.
I agree
ring.
with that. Like, how did he know
He's-
what to do?
Maybe he was
squeezed
feeling
the
it.
plants though, and it's like you see the it's like a
Juicy
wet rag.
green,
Like I
yeah.
was like, seriously, I don't
So
think it
yeah,
works
he's
that way.
squeezing the root onto the spider. He's rubbing it on his
That would
chest.
actually opposite that because my next thing is like it's going back between four shots of Susie cooking hoax, and it comes back and he's shirtless and sweaty. And now it looked to me, I might be wrong, but it looked like he had like a bloody handprint like on his chest. I'm like, where did that come from?
And also he had the phone off the hook and it's going hoax. Yeah. So maybe he was just feeling the inspiration. Maybe he was just feeling the divinity of the spooky voice.
So we see Susie, she gets her dinner out of the oven, puts it on the table, and she goes to the fridge and starts getting like a soda and ketchup out. And we see like underneath like the tinfoil lid or cover, like a spider legs are kind of creep out. It's like
And
it's
lots
smoking,
and lots of smoke.
and like
that
lots
must
of
have been a
smoke.
hot
Like looks like it's
fucking
burnt,
TV
but
dinner.
spider legs kind of poking out. It's like, what's going on?
How did they do that in real life?
They
Like,
probably just put a spider.
do you
in
think
the
they were
tray
like
and covered
under
it
the
with-
table and it was fake coming through,
Probably.
or
Probably.
I just kind of wondered, huh?
So, and then it goes back to Hoax, who suddenly has a change of heart. He's like, no, I want to stop it. No, he's like freaking out. And he drives over to Susie's place on his scooter in his pajamas. But, I kind of skipped it because she opens, she opens up the frozen dinner. And it's not just one, but dozens and dozens of poisonous spiders come like just flooding out, crawling over her. She's like screaming. And then Hoax comes over and he looks through the window and finds her dead, face down in the kitchen with all these spiders scurrying around
Spiders
her body.
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. So back at his house now, Lucy, which it's so weird. In the credits, she's credited as Aunt Lucy is her character name, but she's only Spike's aunt. She's Hoax's mother. So I think she just should be called Lucy. It's just a pet peeve. It's mine, but
Mama.
it's just Lucy.
Fair enough.
And she confronts Hoax about the phone bill, which I'm kind of glad I put something out in there because that's a little more realistic. That phone bill would be through the roof, though. but he's like,
Yeah, but how did she get the phone bill so quick? I don't know. It seemed like didn't he just make?
well, we know like at least a few days have passed. So, but you're a good point. Like it shouldn't have come that soon.
And
Semantics.
And she's like complaining about the phone bill and saying that he's been tying up the phone all night because she's trying to call in
Call
a
her friends
pledge
and-
or whatever.
yeah.
No, she's trying to call in a pledge to the
Yeah,
Reverend,
yeah.
to the
Yeah,
good Reverend
yeah.
Robert
Reverend.
Englund.
But which is case, if he sounded the phone, it's not like she's gonna pick it up and get busy signal. She's gonna pick it up and she would
Hear
hear
what-
what
yeah.
he's doing. So the fact that she's like,
She should
"You're
hear the
calling all
voice."
those sex
Right.
lines. She thinks she's calling. She thinks he's calling like phone sex operators.
What kind of phone sex talks like this?
Yeah, so she would hear him, the devil and stuff going on. So yeah,
Maybe the kind of phone sex Hoax likes.
yeah, big brooding man.
Hey now.
I have a small confession to make.
Uh-oh.
When I was 12 years old, I was moving from New Jersey to Illinois. And the weekend that we were moving, I was playing Jurassic Park on the Sega Genesis. And I called one of those 900 Nintendo numbers to figure out, or Sega numbers, whatever it was, Game Power.
Was that the one where you could play as a raptor?
I don't know. On
right.
this one, you would go in and the raptors were after you, and I couldn't fucking figure out. I was in the museum, and there's the T-Rex bones there. The way to kill the raptors, you had to jump on the bones and shake them loose and make them fall on the raptors. I couldn't figure that out, so I called the 900 number, and I think I racked up like $170.
Jesus Christ!
But because I found out later that apparently they can still transfer bills over when you move. We were moving to Illinois from New Jersey. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know that would
I
show
wouldn't
up.
lie for a kid. Like, that's kind of a genius
$170?
idea to think about. Like, well, by the time it comes in, we're gonna be gone.
Yeah.
They can't- it's
That
a
was
good
my
idea
thought
in
process.
theory.
Well, how many times did you call though?
A
You think that
couple.
one
I mean-
phone call probably would have solved your problem. No.
Yeah,
I
but
know
then
you're
I
right.
was like, I'm moving. I could call about everything. How do I get through this?
Flawless logic.
Hey, the idea is sound, but execution. I would when I was a kid,
12-year-old
I would
logic
call
anyway.
I'd call the sex lines because I was curious, but I never I'd call and once it got to the point like, okay, for this dial one, and then I'd hang up. I just wanted to hear the intro, but then I'd hang up before any chargers got come. So
You just wanted a taste.
I did. I wanted the taste. So anyway,
Actually, I
Lucy
used to do kind of the same thing, and we just go to random payphones, just dial in 1-900.
But
Fuck you.
I used to
Well, no, I
French
didn't go
spell
butt
words,
fuck.
see what would happen.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, Hoax blames on Spike. He's like, no, Spike's doing it. Spike's doing it. And so anyway, Lucy then basically just like Mama Bear, she rips the phone out of his room, says, I'm taking this away. No more phone privileges for you. And so we go to the next day, and we're at school, and Marty shows up at the school and reveals to the principal that he is a PI, and he wants to talk to Spike, who his real name is Leonard Johnson, and
the principal, Angela Martinez.
Yes. For one, I didn't even know her name. I just called her principal for throughout the rest of these notes. Is principal like the very
because
very end.
When I heard Angela Martinez, I was like, okay, Latina actor. Nope.
Just a very tan white girl.
Yes. I was just like, where's the Martinez at? Where is that? Where is that? And she is a very handsome woman. She has very sharp features.
But she's not unattractive. She's 80s attractive. I mean, she's not ugly by any means.
But he does comment to the punk rocker guy who's just rocking out in his own world.
He's got like headphones on. He's like sitting in an office.
See why you come here?
Yeah, he's like, I see why you come here so much.
Which I'm glad you brought up that kid because the kid that he's talking about has this giant spiked mohawk.
Tattoos.
And I'm like, that's the guy who should be named Spike in this movie, not Spike. Spike should be named Greaser or Greasy or Smokey because that's
Smokey.
That's all he does.
That's a really good point.
Spiky thing
and
about
not only
him.
does he smoke, but he smokes like the Camel non-filters.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's wearing like those spiky like metal spike bracelets you would see in the 80s. There's nothing spiky about it.
And let's talk about Spike for just a second, okay? Everyone else is fucking 80s out the ass.
Yeah.
The street toughs are pretty fucking 80s.
Yeah.
They got skateboards and they got earrings that are dangling in the one ear. They got little dyed parts. You know, they're fucking 80s to the tits. And then you have like the Greaser. You know, he doesn't really fit the 80s.
It looks
at
like
all.
he should have been in the movie Outsiders.
Right.
Yes. Totally does look
Like
that.
late 50s, early 60s kind of, you know, he rides a motorcycle.
And
And
it's
like a
wears a leather jacket.
But the mullet is quite.
It's
80s.
not quite a mullet, but it's close.
It's only not a mullet because he fucking puts it in that gay fucking ponytail.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
If the ponytail wasn't there, it'd be full on mullet, dude. I mean, come on.
Now, I would kind of argue too, though, that I think you got to remember when they made this movie, and maybe they were making the cool guy have his own style, not 80s style, the retro style. He liked to wear that leather jacket, live in the garage like Fonz, drive the motorcycle. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they. I agree. You're absolutely right.
While we're talking about, I can't remember his name, off the actor's name I'm talking about, but every time I kept seeing this guy, it's not him, but he looked so much to me like
Barry O'Brien.
Peter Berg. That's his name. The young Peter Berg who was in Shocker that we did.
True.
He looked to me like that guy. It's not him, but he looks a lot like a young Peter Berg.
I thought he almost looked like a young Mickey Rourke.
I didn't see that one at all. But all right. Anyway, moving on.
I think it's like O'Brien or something is his last name.
Yeah,
very
it's
Irish.
something O'Brien.
Has he done other stuff?
Yes.
He was
Patrick
actually the
O'Brien.
only other actor that went on to do 976 Evil 2.
Yes,
He's in the sequel?
Yeah.
And he's playing Spike. So Spike comes back in the sequel, and he's got.
What about the kid? Hoax? Yeah.
We'll get to
we'll get to him.
We'll get to Hoax.
He's only did 14 credits. He's got one of the smallest resumes I've ever been in the cast. The only other movie I wrote down of note that I had to write down is another awesome 80s movie. Not a horror movie, but holds dear to my heart. No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan and Zeus.
Nice.
He was in that movie.
Rip 'em.
Rip 'em.
Yeah.
Moving on. I guess
that
we can get to
movie.
that later.
Yeah. So anyway, Hoax is in the office. He's like an office work because of course he's a dork, so they have to work in the office.
Right.
And he's like organizing files, and he overhears Marty talking about. He wants to talk about Spike. So he goes to find Spike, and he's like, "Hey, you got, this guy's looking to talk to you. He's like, you want me to take care of him,
Right.
just like I took care of Susie last night?" And Spike's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And he's like forced to stop because he's trying to walk away from the kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, so he basically grabs him and they go into a locker room and they have it out. And this Hulk stuff's like, "Yeah, I killed her, and because the hotline told me to do it, and he did it for him. I did it for you, Spike, because she was
ruining
I
your name.
I had to save your rep because she's out with Marcus the night before being a dirty whore, so she had to die."
So yeah, he lies to him,
Yeah.
saying that she's been cheating on him essentially, and they're in this giant locker room.
Huge locker room.
The ceilings must be 20 feet high.
It's huge.
And he's smashing him against the lockers, throwing him down. And the further they go deeper into the locker towards the shower, the lighting is green and like creepy, weird lighting.
I wanted
super.
It's like-
Reanimator.
Yeah.
like flickering fluorescent.
What
bulbs.
kind of high school is this?
I don't know.
That's what I was saying
Speaking of,
earlier.
So
speaking of the locker room, again, just how bad of a high school is, because I noticed it on the front, not inside the locker, on the front door of the locker is a complete
One of them
picture
had,
of a
like-
nude
yeah,
woman, like
one of them had, like,
straight
a
out
centerfold.
Straight out
There
Playboy.
was like a dirty jockstrap
And-
hanging out of another one.
High school.
Fuck.
Like, how would this even be allowed? It would be ripped down. Like,
Yeah.
I can kind of say if it was like inside locker, or maybe the teachers or principal don't see. But apparently, the teachers, coaches, principals don't give a
Don't give a
shit
fuck.
about this school.
Well, we
because-
saw the bathroom that was
Yeah.
a quote unquote Marcus's office.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And we see the lady who's running the show. Guess what? She's not even Latina.
Now,
And she
another
might
thing-
be part man, according to Aaron.
I feel like this scene, because I'd kind of thought about it a little bit, but when it was this scene, and maybe it's only because I knew Robert Englund directed it.
Right.
If I hadn't known, maybe I wouldn't have thought of this. But I feel like a lot of the scenes, the way they were, the scenery and the
Felt
camera
like-
work was like Freddy
Freddy.
movie dream sequences.
Right, exactly. I
Don't
felt
you
that too,
feel
yeah.
like that was
I
a
felt
dream
like the
sequence?
entire movie was that way, actually, with
Yes.
it as dark as it was, and like just the lighting in general throughout most of the movie.
especially the very end.
Definitely
yes,
felt very
the light at the
Nightmare on
very
Elm
end,
Street-ish, yeah.
was very.
And that's what he
reminiscent of
knew.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and I don't
I know.
even know that he did it on purpose, but it does feel very Freddy-ish.
that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I will. One
There's
thing I will
other
notice,
scenes in this movie that make me feel that way too.
Yeah, the end definitely. The only thing I'll mention about this locker room confrontation, because it does come back at the end, is during it, Spike does throw Hoax down to the ground and kind of spit towards him.
Yeah, what's he say?
But then Hoax like, someday the roles are gonna be reversed and I'm gonna be up there and blah blah blah. You'll regret
Yeah,
this.
you'll be down here. Yeah.
But Spike's like,
When
shut up
hell-
and get out of here. He doesn't really do anything.
But Spike says, "When hell freezes over."
Yeah,
That's
when hell
important.
freezes. That is. So we cut back to Marty on another payphone. So we're trying to get the address of the 976 company that runs the hotline, and that's it. That's the entire scene. And this leads him to an old rundown warehouse, which of course is again covered in graffiti.
Yeah.
And it's now used to host several different 976 hotlines. He goes and there's like a horse betting guy. There's
and a drunk Santa.
There's a Santa Claus guy where kids can call and talk to Santa Claus.
Is that guy like huffing gas or paint?
It was a
Yeah.
look like a giant bottle of wine.
But
that
it's
he was
like in
just
this
drunk as
huge
fuck, yeah.
Paper bag. It's almost like he's huffing something.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, it was
they're not like big. They're in tiny, like basically janitor's closet.
small
room,
offices.
and, and each room is decorated for the proper hotline. Like the Santa ones have like shitty snowflakes and Christmas cards on. The sports ones got like sports posters
Tickers,
and sticker
yeah.
stuff.
My
And
favorite.
then there's the sex lady who's got like a deflated
She-
sex doll and like nudie pictures all over the place.
She's saying, "I'm a 17-year-old nymphet."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like this
45-year-old
fat-
heavy woman.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah. And she's the guy's looking at her and she's like, "Call me."
Yeah.
She blows him a kiss.
And
And
it's funny because he kind of goes, "All right."
Now,
Yeah, probably.
In all honesty, guys, don't you think, like, imagine, like, even in your early 20s, wouldn't it have been cool to work at a place like this for just a month or something?
yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, I immediately was like, I wish I would have worked at that.
right. Think of the stories, the
I love
characters.
my favorite was the racetrack, the horse racer guy, because he just didn't even give a fuck.
He's
like,
smoking.
He's smoking. He's like, hey, you
called
called me. Shut up. You don't like it? Get off the phone.
Yeah, Doug, it would have been cooler to work there than Johnny Brock's, right?
Oh, yes.
So Marty's in there, and he's looking for a man named Mark Dark.
Mark
And-
Dark, yes.
Mark Dark, who he
God.
finds, and he's a balding, middle-aged man who is apparently always sick
Chronically
and sniffling
sick.
the entire time.
He's disgusting, and he's going bald, but the sides of his hair are like pointed up, kind of little points up,
like devil horns, perhaps.
perhaps. And there's also
Perhaps.
something that I forgot to mention. Back to the scene where Susie's making her home, her
The frozen dinner.
frozen
Devil
dinner.
twins.
Yeah.
The box of snack
Oh,
cakes.
devil twins.
Devil twins.
yeah.
Oh, I have a
Yeah.
whole list of this. I was going to give him odds and ends.
Yeah.
We can knock them out now. So yeah. So
So back to Mark Dark.
Dark takes Marty to the evil room / booth and shows him this setup. And this is the only one that doesn't have an operator. It's all automated. And he basically
It's like cobwebs, and it's
Yeah.
like
yeah, which again I figure is the
Definitely
like
a
the
janitor's
decoration.
closet.
It was either like okay, that goes with the decorations, or it's supposed to show that it hasn't been in use
yeah.
in
That's
so
what I
long.
was thinking. It was.
So it could go either way on that.
Right.
And he basically says that the evil hotline was an experiment to see if a fully automated answering hotline system would work because he has
He's
to
like,
lay
I was-
off operators. He has
I
to
was
start
thinking
cutting
about
back.
laying some people off, save on benefits.
Yeah.
And he
Oh,
said,
yeah, what kind of asshole?
Right.
Fucking- yeah, save on benefits.
Yeah.
I was like, man, they really just made this guy a dick.
He is. Yeah.
and so he says it's been shut off for 2 or 3 months now because no one's interested in horror stuff. It's just now E.T., Ewoks, and
Yeah,
sex.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I love that.
Ewoks, E.T., football, and phone sex.
Which my girlfriend watching it with me said, yeah, that's exactly what it is now. Like, she was like, except for E.T., she was like, yeah, it's all like fucking everything's still the same.
So we go back to the school where Hoax is getting sick while having to dissect a frog in class. He's excused by his teacher. He goes to the bathroom where he notices he's getting all sweaty and his hair is falling out.
He's got like little
His hands start
blisters.
itching.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
He's-
like,
Yeah. He
He's
just doesn't.
He's changing. He's getting all fucked up.
Yeah.
And in come the two nameless bullies of the group. One has a skateboard,
couple of the goons.
and he like rides it up the wall by planting his hand underneath a urinal. And I'm like, that is the grossest thing in this entire movie. Because this bathroom is filthy, and you know there's puddles of piss all over that
Well,
floor.
there's one scene later that's probably just as
Well, hey
gross,
man,
but-
you
Yeah,
got
I
you got to
got
do
it.
a wall ride. You got to do a wall ride.
Yeah, but it's like, oh my God, that's the grossest thing I've ever. Like that might be the grossest thing I've seen in any horror movie
He's
right
doing
now.
he's doing a handstand with the board on his feet, right?
Yeah, up against
And his
the
other
wall.
buddy grabs it. And he's like, "Hey man, what the hell?" And he's like,
And he's like,
"I got some crank. Want to snort it?"
yeah, yeah, I do.
So they know
All
it's
right,
they
here
know
we
it's
go.
hoax, and of course they have to bully him every time they see this guy. And now I'm saying, keep in mind, there several days have passed in the timeline of this movie, but these bullies wear the same clothes throughout the entire movie.
They do.
They have one set of clothes, like that's all they own.
Another question.
Because like Spikes changes shirts, Hoax changes a few shirts, other people change outfits, except for
Actually,
these.
Hoax
even
pretty
Hoax-
much wears the exact same sweater vest throughout the entire movie.
Type of sweater vest.
Same. He's
but
wearing
they're
a
different
sweater
colors.
vest,
Oh,
yeah.
The mom changes her hair, like
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
every
No.
scene.
Yes,
Yeah.
every
And
scene she's
I mean,
in.
Even
Everyone.
Marcus changes shirts.
awesome. I
and
love that
outfits,
part
but
of the
these
movie.
two guys wear the same thing the entire movie. It's like they run out of budget.
And one
for
of them's
wardrobe.
wearing overalls and like a tool belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing a
It's so
tool belt
weird.
around? What the fuck?
It was the 80s, man.
That's where he keeps
And
his
another
crank.
question is, if Hoax knows that this is the bathroom that these guys hang out
Stop
in,
going to that
why does he
bathroom!
keep going to that bathroom? Is there only one bathroom in the
there's
whole
one bathroom in
school?
this whole
What is
school.
going on?
I thought the same thing. Like, stop going to that bathroom.
Why would you even go to that section of the school? All right, sorry.
So no, it's a great point. I
mean-
totally agree with you. So anyway, Hoax is getting pissed off, and his fingernails grow into claws. He's like, "Argh," he's mutating.
Yeah, they're bullying him. They're pushing
Going
him
back to the
against-
Freddy thing.
Yeah, and he
Ooh.
slashes this one guy across the face, and he goes after the other one and breaks the kid's skateboard when he claws through it
punches
because the
through it or
bully
something.
like holds up to use it as a shield, and he just
Smashes
smashes
through
it through. And that bully flees from the bathroom. He turns his attention back to the one he slashed in the face.
Who's
and
looking?
tells-
He's looking at himself in the mirror, looking at his cuts, like, "Oh my god, his face is fucked."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't ever touch me again. Pass it on."
I thought that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah.
I like that scene. It was
did
like,
too.
that's yay for the little guy.
This is the point where Hoax is definitely being absorbed, if you will. By
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The hotline.
So now Marty has now taken the principal, Angela, out on a dinner date, apparently.
And they're drinking some
What-
classy wine,
Yeah.
too, out of like,
Classy wine at Dante's Diner.
at a dirty water class.
I know. This is such a weird. What did he do? How did he do this? He has a meeting with her. Why does he have a meeting with her? We don't really know.
Apparently, this guy's like to me. He's like a poor man's version of Mo from the Stuff. Like he's just got game apparently, but we never see.
We
it.
have no idea why he's even in this movie.
No, we
Other
don't.
than the fact that he saved Spike from getting hit by the bitching Camaro, he has absolutely no point.
No, he does not.
Can we
So
get a little
does-
backstory?
This movie
I mean,
would be exactly the same if this guy was never in the
Right.
script at all. It would. He makes no impact on the outcome of this movie.
Like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Exactly true. The movie would have been exactly the same. And Indiana, The Raiders of the Lost Ark too would have been exactly the same without Indiana Jones.
That's a whole other podcast.
That is a whole other podcast. Anyway,
Aaron,
we'll talk. We'll fill you in later. We'll talk
Aaron.
later.
Okay.
We're gonna blow your mind later.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah. So
It's like
they're
me and Aaron about to fight right
I
now.
know. It's like, what are you boys saying?
What are you talking about?
So they're having dinner and they're talking about Hoax, Spike, and Lucy. He's talking about all of it. And we cut back to Lucy eating dinner with her cats. Hoax just walks in like a man now. He just grabs his phone and just takes it back to
with
his
his rubber glove still on.
room.
Yes.
Rubber glove. I have
claw
so
is
much to say about
obvious.
that.
The obvious claws, and she has nothing to say about
No.
that.
And she follows him and says, "Hey, you put that back.
Don't make
Put
me
that
get my
back, blah,
strap."
blah, blah." And he's all upset, and he looks and says, "If you value your life, I suggest you leave me alone." And then heads up to his room.
And his voice is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
And, like,
your life. It like echoes.
and this character's his voice is kind of squeaky and fun, and you know, his voice is kind of like that. And now all of a sudden he's got like his nuts have dropped. He's gone down a few octaves.
His nuts
I'm a
didn't
man
just
now.
drop. They dropped and went through the fucking floorboards.
Right,
Like
right.
they're in the
Yes.
basement. That's
Yeah.
how much they've dropped.
And this is important to me. I actually like voiceover work a lot, like when I watch cartoons or whatever, I pay attention. So do you guys think that because his voice is very like, hey guys,
Yeah.
you know,
I totally think it's dubbed in voiceover.
so it is
Oh.
a different voice, or
I
did
totally
they just
think it is.
put
Sure.
something with it?
I think he would.
like
The only
auto
way I thought is that he would
back
kind
then.
of,
I don't know if they had
he kind of
auto-tune.
acted like in the beginning, like I'm this little guy, you know, and but
It
then
could
like,
have been. Maybe he
you know,
did
I mean,
just
I don't
change-
know. I feel like he
I
can
don't
do
know.
things.
I like that you think something a little different than you think, and I think they did a good job with that because
Well, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking I could easily see where it could be somebody. It could be dubbed over. And
I looked at the lips and I couldn't
Yeah,
tell.
that's what I'm saying. Normally with like a voiceover thing, you can tell like that he's mouthing the scene. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
It was not natural. It wasn't a natural voice. It was something
Well, he could
synthesized
still be
or
saying the
Exactly.
lines while they film, but when they make a movie, the sound
Sure.
is on a different track than the
Okay.
video.
That's
so
what I'm talking- yeah.
even if he says it, they could have gone in and
altered
synced
the
it up
sound.
exactly the same,
I-
even if he's saying it.
Right there with you.
1989.
Because he
Yeah.
basically he basically talks like this the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
yeah.
really disappointed me, honestly, because I wish he would have kept his, weak, wimpy, squeaky
You want
voice,
more
but,
like a Jekyll and Hyde thing.
but still be a
Yeah.
badass. I think that would have. I personally think that would have had a little more impact, and only occasionally use the deep scariness.
I don't think so because I think at this point the demon is obviously taking over Hoax. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
Hoax is no more.
I know what
the
you
demon is
mean,
there.
and I know why they did it. Just
Yeah.
me personally, I think it would have just been.
You're entitled to
cooler.
your opinion, Aaron.
Yeah.
It can be wrong.
You just saying that though. The demon doesn't fucking rhyme when it's in Hoax.
No, it does not.
see, that would have been
shit?
cool.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Rhymes on the phone
To
all
me,
the
Hoax
time.
has become like the living embodiment of the Disturbed song "Down to Sickness." That to me, I don't know if anybody else thinks that. Yeah, but I mean, the voice change is like, open up your hate, let it flow into me.
I'm just kind of went. You're on your own on that one, buddy.
That's fine. I might be, but that. Yeah. Anyway, so back to the hotline warehouse where Marty now has broken in and he makes his way to the evil booth room where the hotline is, and we see inside the room first. And the room is lit by red lights, like the red light district in fucking Amsterdam. And when Marty opens the door, the
Been
red
there.
lights fade to black, and then Marty comes in and flips on the switch. It just fills the room with like the regular white light, regular light. So something spooky's going on in that room. And while he's in that room, Hoax calls the hotline from his room, and Spike also tries to call the hotline at the same time, but he gets a busy signal. And the hotline asks Hoax if he wants the power now, which of course, like, yeah, of course I do. And Marty hears this conversation from the booth, the room he's in. So Hoax holds the phone receiver out, and it starts to smoke. And Hoax starts to fucking glow blue, like he's a goddamn. He looks like Mr. Manhattan from the Watchmen or something.
Something from Starlight Express.
Yeah, I mean he's just glowing blue. And Spike watches this happen through the window from his room. He's looking through
And
the
he
window.
really does not seem impressed.
No, he's just like, whatever. He has like
yeah,
no
that's what I was
reaction
thinking. Like
to whatever.
Spike's seeing this. He's not running over there.
Right,
and
he's
He's
trying
just
like,
to,
holy shit, what's going on?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
happening? He's like, all right, whatever.
The Hoax dicking around again.
Yeah.
another cigarette.
So I'm not a smoker, but is non-filtered like totally badass?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
is.
really bad for that's.
Yeah.
Oh, now they say the
Yeah,
filters.
it's
are
rough.
Do they still make non-filtered
They
cigarettes?
do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they do.
But
Like
even
every brand, Marlboro, Camel.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Well,
but-
and if you, and
I look at Chris like I don't know
I know.
why I think.
I
you're
know.
well, I
a
think
smoker.
Chris is the only smoker here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you are
Unfortunately.
okay.
well, and if you roll your own cigarettes, people do that. There's no filter on those. If
Yeah,
you roll
yeah,
your
you can
own,
actually.
so. I think you can buy filters
Right.
for them, but but those are separate.
Huh, okay.
Well, my dime at work.
You can still get Camel unfiltered though. I see them in the gas station.
Hold on for the listeners. The more you know.
Yeah. It's funny.
A
It's
little
like,
star with the rainbow just went over our head.
I think we just all just kind of showed how nerdy we are. We're just like, now cigarettes, do they all do that? I don't know. Chris, tell us all about it.
Well, you see.
So Marty gets freaked out at this conversation. He turns to leave. And while he's walking down the hallway towards the exit, the phone in the hallway, the payphone in the hallway, another payphone everywhere, rings. He answers it. Why do people answer these phones? I'm like, I would like, I'm just leaving. I'm not going to answer some random phone.
I call bullshit. If you are walking in a hallway, and even in today's age, and you saw a cell phone sitting on a windowsill and it was ringing, $100 says you answer it because you can't pass it by.
I think it's a little different too with the phone booths, like the pay phones.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean,
I never would. I've
our
never done that,
generation's
like-
kind of like we saw the end, the demise of the payphone.
Payphone, yeah.
Like I
Grew up
remember
with
in
it,
high school,
yeah.
like carrying around phone cards. And
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had a
Oh, yeah.
pager. I had a pager and a
Yep.
phone card.
Yep.
I think we all did. I did.
You know, and I drive up to a payphone, but now they're non-existent.
I wanted to find. Speaking of the phone, like for the budget game, I really wanted to get like a phone card as the prize for the budget game, but I can't find it anymore. I can't find it. So anyway, Marty answers the phone, and the
I
voice
think I would
tells
have
him
answered the phone too, but
he's like, "You're too late," and then Marty gets like electrocuted. He gets a zap through the phone, and that's it. And then next thing is he makes it outside where the principal
Pulls up in her sweet convertible.
and like basically helps him into the car.
She's just like,
he's like, "Where have you been? I lost you at the last light." She says, "Bitch, how far along?"
Yeah, she was
know.
like, "Last time my ass."
I mean,
what the hell?
When that happened, when she pulled up, I had forgotten about her. And I swear to God, and I was like, is
Who's
she a
this?
character in this movie still?
Right.
And then I was also like, where the fuck is Spike been? Like,
yeah,
I
I
was
was
just
for
like,
a long time too.
Yeah.
well, there was a point where Spike like went to Susie's.
Well, we're coming up on that. That's coming
oh.
up. Yeah. So Marty tells like, "Hey, we have to get to the Williams house, which is Hoax's house," and they leave. Now we cut to the bullies again, playing strip poker in the projection room.
Yeah, let's make a point about this real quick.
Yeah.
Spike must have literally taken all of their money, like all of their money, because there's 5 dudes and 1 chick.
Four dudes. It's 4 dudes and 1 chick. And they're, go ahead. I'll let you drop this reveal.
And they're sitting around playing strip poker. I mean,
Yes.
how desperate. You want to talk about Gamblers Anonymous?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
these
and I'm
people
like,
need to
I
fucking.
say in my notes, I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is not the group I'd be wanting playing strip poker.
No.
with. 4
Yeah.
dudes and 1 girl.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
with
Right.
a
And-
girl that you already said looks like she's about 12.
Exactly.
I mean,
Which I have more. I have a lot to say on that coming up.
So
like, here's
all-
the thing.
These two dudes are sitting in their boxer shorts,
Yep.
and they're like losing more.
Yeah.
Yes. And unless, I mean, in Marshall's opinion, I'm going to speak for him, but unless it's like 4 dudes and Alyssa Milano, there is no fucking way you're playing strip poker, right?
Yeah, that's the one situation I might play strip poker with 4 dudes if Alyssa Milano's there.
I know the odds aren't good, but I'm in it to win it.
You never
I
know.
can remember one time I played strip poker with me, 2 other dudes, and a girl, but we stacked the deck.
Yeah.
All right, so the girl lost.
So, Hoax walks into the booth, and the 2 bullies from the bathroom, the 2 names one, they're like, "Hey, let's take this outside," and they go out in their boxers,
Who are in their boxer shorts,
trying to
mind
look
you.
all tough. But the one guy, the taller one, who's also he's standing all weird, and he doesn't look tough. He looks gay. Like he looks very. Like, it's a very gay looking pose.
Right in Hoax's
And
wheelhouse.
Ryan Hoax, and they just go outside. Apparently, fight in their boxer shorts.
They're not scared of him anymore after he just slashed the
Exactly.
shit out
I
of them.
know.
Yeah, right.
It's like you guys just ran. The one guy ran fleeing like a bitch from the bathroom, but also he's like, now he got his balls like.
This is where I didn't
And
understand
the one
it.
guy's got a giant bandage covering like half his face.
Right.
So this is what I would think. I would think, oh shit, he's coming to fucking finish us off. Let's all get him at
Like,
once.
he already threatened.
Yeah, he's already slashed one dude's face really bad.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought all four were like, okay, that's it. We're all four going to take on. Nope. They
were just like, hey, look who it is.
Marty and Airhead don't give a shit. Like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, that crank must have been awesome.
Yeah.
Because these two
Yes.
guys don't
Yeah.
remember shit about what happened earlier in the day.
Right. Good point.
I mean, shit.
So they go outside. Hoax and two guys go outside. Now, the Airhead, Marty, or Marcus, Airhead, and the girl continue to play. The girl loses her hand, and so she has to strip. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but when you are playing strip poker and you lose one hand, it's like you take off one article of clothing.
Correct.
Am I
that's what I
correct?
thought, yeah.
All right. Well, this girl apparently takes off, has to take off everything.
Well, it turns into a little striptease.
Well, she takes off her shirt, and then, which should be it. But the guy's like, nope, gotta keep going. So it's like, she starts taking off her pants and doing like a striptease on a chair.
Would you stop her?
Nope.
I'm not saying I wouldn't stop, but I was like, if I was a girl, I'd be like, come on, it's one hand.
Until she took off her shirt and I realized how flat chested
Oh,
she
she's
was.
super.
I mean,
And that's what I'm saying. She,
Where are your
again,
boobs?
where she looks like she's swollen. Like, I'm all for see naked girls, but this is the one time, like, I felt really, like, uncomfortable watching this. Like, I did. I'm like, I don't feel right. I feel like I'm about to watch kitty porn here because she looks so young.
And
Like,
what was she wearing as a bra? Like, I didn't understand
like,
what that
it
was.
looked like
bra.
it
It's
looked
like
like
a
a
wrap.
ripped T-shirt or something.
no,
yeah.
it's a wrap. I've seen it before, but she's so
It had
flat.
skulls
doesn't-
on
It was
Yeah.
a skull.
Yeah,
it looked
it
almost
had
like a
skulls on it.
skull bandana or something.
Okay.
You know?
I was
mean,
more confused
yeah.
as to
They-
why
they
she
are
was wearing
technically
pants and a
bras.
slip.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's a good point.
Well,
yeah.
that's the thing is she's not even wearing a slip. It's like the baggiest granny pants I've ever seen. These granny pants are like 3 sizes too big for this.
They're almost boxer shorts.
Yeah, they're so
I
big
just
on
know
her.
Sarah was like, "Why is she wearing a slip and pants?"
Yeah, they're huge. She's
I went
so
with the girl's
skinny and
opinion. I
small,
have
and
no
they're
idea.
yeah, it's so weird. I just felt weird watching this scene. And so, meanwhile, Spike. This is where Spike pulls up to a church, and because we see on the board out front, whatever they're called, that it's Susie's memorial service, but he arrives late. It's over, and so he just leaves. I'm like, again, why the fuck is this even in the movie?
Yeah.
There's
And
no
what-
point to it.
And what was he doing that he showed up late to his girlfriend?
He's not
Right.
doing anything else.
He's
Last time-
watching Hoax become a demon. He's like,
Yeah.
whatever.
That's I thought the same thing. Why are you late? And then why is this even okay? It's not like he shows up and something happens, or the priest says, "Hey, you missed it," and the priest lays some like dramatic like awakening, like, "Oh, your cousin's a demon." He talks to the priest
Well, I
about
also
Hoax becoming
thought
a
that maybe he
demon.
was like getting ready to skip town because he had like his there was like a sleeping bag hooked to his bike. You know what I mean?
Saddlebag, yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he pulls up on the sidewalk. Too.
Yeah.
How disrespectful is that?
Well,
he
he did
pulls
that-
up
he
on the
did that-
sidewalk. He's like, "Hey,
Well,
preacher."
he's a street tough. He's a kid. He don't care.
He
He
did
is
that
a street
earlier
dog.
though too in front of the motorcycle shop.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I just like again, this is like the third or fourth scene in my opinion that has no business being in this movie. It's like
Yeah.
when Aaron said, or you said that the YouTube had like was like a much short hour.
Yeah,
15,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can get it because there's so many things that don't need to be in this movie.
Well, who was the editor of this movie? Because maybe
Oh,
that
I
they
should have
was
written
their
that down. I don't have that
They
one.
shit the bed on this one.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. So we're back at the poker game. The girl is stripping off her pants now. That's where we get to the boxers that are way too big for her. And Hoax comes back in, and he's wearing his sunglasses at night. He's got a little Corey Hart going on, and his
Ooh,
shirt and sweater vest are bloody now. They got blood on them, and he approaches the table.
Actually, at this point, you do hear what those other two guys' names were, but I still can't remember.
I don't remember. I never remember what they were either. I didn't know.
Where's A and B?
Yeah, we're and he
Where's
has
the
his hand-
crackheads?
Yeah.
Where's the crack?
he has his hands behind his back, and he approaches the table, and he's like, "Can I enter the game with a pair of hearts?"
What
And he
is-
pulls out he's holding 2 human hearts
That
They're
are
still
still
beating.
beating.
Still beating.
But I do like that line. Can I enter the game with a pair of hearts?
Yeah.
And they reacted appropriately
Yeah,
because
they
they just go,
Marcus-
"Ah!"
Marcus, they flip out. Marcus flips the table.
trying to create space
Like,
between them.
The
Airhead.
grabs the girl, throws
Yeah.
her over, and just
And
runs
run,
out the door.
run out the door. Yeah,
I love it. He's just like, "We're getting the fuck out of here, girl."
Yeah, like finally, it's an appropriate reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is the reaction you should have had in the first place,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something similar to it.
Exactly.
So Marcus is left alone in the booth, and he pulls out a butterfly knife.
Very 80s.
Very, but
It's a sweet butterfly.
Yeah.
yeah, but Hoax basically just backhands him, pimp slaps him so hard that he flies across the room, smashing into the wall. And then Hoax just sets the booth on fire by dropping it into a box of old film negatives.
Well, when he throws him across the room,
he knocked over
some liquid
a bottle
falls over.
of film cleaner.
Yeah.
It was a film
cleaner.
And what he does is he
Daniels
picks up
too.
a cigarette off the floor, takes a big old drag, and then proceeds to light the weakest fire possible. Because it doesn't just like the whole thing doesn't go up in flames.
But the
It
box
slowly
It
burns.
slowly spread, which was fine because I didn't need
Yeah.
the whole erupt in flames. Because again, this was one of the more realistic. You drop it, it's
It
going to
just seemed
start.
like they
and
made
then
it. They made it to
spread.
where all this was a flammable liquid. You would think it would have just like erupted.
They did kind of
All
give
right, if
it.
this film could whatever, I thought it was maybe like because they show a bottle of Jack Daniels on the table, so I thought maybe the alcohol.
No, it was
spilled.
the film cleaner. Yeah.
All right, so he sets the booth fire, and he steps on Marcus's hand as Marcus is trying to reach for the butterfly knife. Hoax just you see his foot like mutate, like it's like something you see in like a werewolf movie, like his feet, his
Rip out of the
clothes like
shoes.
expanding.
Burst out of his shoes.
He's got like claws or big old talons on his clothes now. The shoes rip off, and he reaches down, picks up the knife, and cuts off Marcus's hand with it.
Which Marcus
which way
takes.
too smooth, by the way. for
Marcus
the
takes
butterfly.
really well. Aaron, how many bones are in the human wrist?
Well, two. There's two big fat
Just
ones
two,
right
like,
here.
up in.
You got your radius and ulnus.
That's
Or
it?
radius
the
and
wrist.
ulnus.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just be
So he
the two.
slices
It's
through
not the
this
hand.
guy's wrist with like butter.
Well,
Yeah.
with a
a
fucking
butterfly
butterfly
knife. But I was my thing. If it was a
And
big,
Marcus
like,
doesn't
chopping
even really
cleaver,
react.
I'd get
I
it, but
mean,
he does it like so smoothly in one cut with a knife. Like there's no way it would go that easy through the bone.
The only
That's the
thing I can
problem
think
I
of
had with it.
is he has superhuman strength.
Yeah,
Because he
is a
just
demon
knocked
now.
Marcus
Well,
across the room
and-
with a pimp slap.
And Marcus must be that fucked up
Maybe
to
it's
where he doesn't
osteoporosis
even
or
react.
osteoporosis. What is it? The milk deficiency where you have to have milk and weak bones. I don't know.
Calcium deficiency, yeah.
All
right. I thought
milk
we-
deficiency,
Well, not,
sorry.
no, I mean osteoporosis where you like, have to drink milk on. I
Yeah.
don't know.
That guy's got milk deficiency. I can tell just by looking at him.
It's-
So I
Like
thought
Sally
he would have
Field used to
taken
do
his,
commercials.
his stump at that point and just put it to the fire to
Yes,
stop
I
the
thought
bleeding.
that
Like
too.
it might knock you
Cauterize the
out.
wound.
This guy ain't Rambo. He's not that tough. Come on. That's a good idea, but come on, he ain't Rambo. He ain't doing that.
He's a street tough, Doug.
So,
Street tough.
Hoax is, at this point, Hoax like he's kind of leaves him them like kind of playing like torment this guy. I thought this guy neat because he kind of stares him down and then backs out of the room like I'm gonna let you wither in pain for one. I'm gonna come back to you later, which was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
So we cut back to Airhead and the random girl who are now on the roof of the theater. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
I'm like, why the goddamn hell would you run to the roof instead of out the front door? And I wrote my note, well, I guess he listened to our theme song because we specifically have that in our goddamn theme song. Why are you running up the stairs instead of out the door?
That's great. But the part is, they're both just standing there.
Yeah.
And she's shaking like a leaf because she doesn't have a shirt on. He puts a coat on her finally.
Yeah.
After
Isn't that
she-
Because I wasn't
weird?
sure if she was
Yeah.
shaking because she was cold or if she was like, I'm scared. But obviously she's cold.
But he's just there like, duh.
But she's the only
Obviously, they're
person in this
completely-
entire movie that ever shows any semblance of being cold. Because to me, the whole rest of the movie, this is probably like the spring or it's not summer because they're in school, but like fall or spring. Like I had no
Yeah.
ever idea that it's supposed to be cold.
You don't ride your motorcycle in cold weather, right?
No.
Yeah.
Well, they were in
Why did they
California.
have him give his jacket? Isn't that weird? Like it didn't fit to me.
You
I
know,
was like,
he's a
what
punk
is
kid.
this?
He's like whatever. But
Yeah.
maybe this is supposed to be his girl because he does save her when Hoax comes in. So he takes her and runs her out.
But Marcus seemed to be like pulling on. It seemed like it was Marcus's girl.
Well, the
I don't
dude's
know.
name
Regardless.
was Airhead.
Yeah. Regardless, they're on the roof. Why don't they try to fucking find a fire escape and get down on the ground and run away?
Why didn't he run up in the roof in the first place? Anyway, so Hoax appears behind them just out of nowhere. He's like, hey.
Which is kind of funny. He like throws his arm on Airhead like, what are we waiting for, guys?
for?
And
I gotta say, hold on.
okay.
That really made me laugh.
I know.
And I liked the character, the demon Hoax,
Me
at
too.
that point
Yeah,
a lot.
absolutely.
Like, I heard you guys talking earlier about when I was gone, whatever you were talking about with Hoax, like changing appearance and doing all that. But the two hearts. When
Yeah.
he walked in with
Yeah.
the two hearts. But two things. One, I feel like, did anybody else think that they made him look very Michael Jackson-ish with the
Sort of,
hair
yeah.
and the glasses and the gloves, like you mentioned earlier? I felt that, but I liked his comedy in the movie. I liked
did
him
too.
just being the stupid demon
To me,
that just wants to fuck
I
with
know he's supposed
people.
to demon.
Yeah.
He looked very reptilian to me more than demon. He looked like a lizard man.
yeah.
It was very scaly, not necessarily demon.
But he had humor in his
Yeah, he
stupid
did.
one-liners, and I
I'll
liked
give him
it.
that. Yeah, I will give him that, Mark. So anyway, Airhead pulls out like this length of chain out of nowhere. He just pulls out his
And
ass.
doesn't he go,
And the slowest.
Yes, it's back.
Oh, no, he says, "You're a dead motherfucker." It's like the most drawn out fucking thing. I'm like, seriously?
it's his war cry.
Yeah.
So he's swinging around, he's trying to hit, and Hoax just grabs him by the neck, lifts him off the ground with one hand, while the girl's screaming behind them. And I just want to point out the shitty makeup job on the monster hand on Hoax, because you can clearly see it's just an oversized glove he's wearing.
Yes.
You can even see the flaps are folded back.
Yeah.
Now, I took a still of this. I have pictures of this on my phone, which we will post on on the Facebook page when this movie goes live, so you can see how bad this is. And the camera then cuts back to the girl screaming, and you hear Hoax. Or not Hoax, but you hear Airhead in the back room. He's screaming too, but we don't see the actual what happens. But when it cuts back to Hoax and Airhead has now been impaled on the neon sign pitchfork of the El Diablo Theater.
Let's say that again. The neon sign pitchfork, and he's just hovering there in midair. Like,
Yeah.
He's got like a big pitchfork through
everybody knows what a neon sign is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how does that hold his weight?
Neon sign weighs what? Maybe 5 pounds. Airhead weighs about 200 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he's sitting there, he's like shaking, like, and you see like sparks flying. So that's
Hoax
how
just
he dies.
laughing.
And so Hoax now
Hoax
goes
must have took
back
pity
to
on the
Marcus.
girl because
he apparently leaves the girl alone. We never see the girl again. So
It's a good point. Yeah, he doesn't touch the girl.
maybe
We
he
don't
doesn't
know.
because she never picked on him. Maybe, it could be. You never see her, so he might
Sure.
be like, you're fine.
Go
But
with it.
at the same time, if
Let's
he's a
just go
death
with
demon,
it.
you'd think he'd kill everybody. But
Right.
you never see her again. So he goes back for Marcus, who is now in another absolutely disgusting bathroom, wrapping his stump in toilet
I was going to
paper.
say, you were talking about the guy doing the hand.
Oh, I have more
stand
about this
and-
bathroom as we come up.
And
to
I'm
it.
like, well, Marcus with his stump on the floor,
You know that's
like
infected.
a stall.
You know that's
yeah,
infected.
right.
So
Which,
Hoax-
how much toilet paper does he have on this stump?
It looks like a boxing glove.
yeah, right.
Because it's getting bloody and red, and he's wrapping it. It's just this. It looks like he's wearing a bloody boxing glove.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
God damn,
Hoax
looks
is
like
now
5
like
rolls
all
in there.
demon now. He's all demon. He finds him in the bathroom, and he kills him. But we don't see how because the camera pans away over the tops of all the stalls.
It is kind of funny going back to like the funny one-liners. It's like when he finds the stall, he's got Marcus's hand. He's like, "Hi,"
Yeah.
like, waves
No, I think he
Marcus's
says
hand.
bye. But he says
Oh,
bye.
bye.
Yeah, I do like that.
And then he throws the hand because that's what the camera. And you see him like close in on Marcus, and the camera pans over the top of all the stalls, and you hear Marcus scream. And as the camera pans across the top, you can see how filthy it is because there's just puddles of piss
And
on
shit
every
everywhere.
toilet's disgusting. And then you get to the final stall where you see the hand on the floor and the toilet filled with blood. That's it.
So this is before I found out that the actor who plays Hoax did a huge catalog of gay porn. But when he threw away the hand, I was like, that's the gayest throw I think I've ever seen. Because he just goes, whee! Like a very fabulous throw of the hand. Now it makes sense.
So now Hoax is back at his home. He's lounging on the couch when Mother Lucy comes in and she starts yelling. I'm like, where have you been? Don't make me get this strap and blah, blah, blah. Never mind the fact that she somehow doesn't notice his gigantic demon hands or
His
the smeared-
sunglasses.
or the giant amount of smeared blood on her plastic-covered couch.
And it's funny because he's sitting on the couch just like, oh, leave me alone.
Yeah.
He's not really caring. He doesn't want to be bothered
No, he's
by
not trying
her.
to hide his demon
And he's
faces.
not trying to fuck with her either. He's just chilling watching TV.
And so he finally stands up and he just slashes her across the face, killing her. And then he goes and kills her parrot too, her bird. Just like, I'm going to kill the parrot.
Well, that's because the bird was saying, not on the couch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not on the couch.
And when he reaches in, he grabs the bird, kills it. He goes, that's why there's fucking plastic.
that's what the plastic's for, asshole.
Yeah.
I felt like they should have had that bird annoy him in the movie earlier.
I agree.
I
One
agree.
scene.
They should have made a
agree.
whole thing like where he's constantly annoying the hell out of
Yeah.
Hoax.
That was a good joke.
Which would
I agree.
make more sense for him to kill the bird.
It was a
instead of
good joke. There needed to be more build up.
Yes.
I think the payoff would have been better.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Potential
all
was
agree with
there.
that.
They
Totally
just,
agreed,
it just fell
Doug.
flat.
I don't think the bird even talks before.
I didn't
that.
know there was
Yeah.
a bird, but
Yeah,
Right.
when we very first see Hoax,
When he's eating the candy
you
bar.
see, it pans past the bird cage.
Okay.
But that's the first time we ever hear the bird talk. So yeah, I agree. They should have had him mouthing off to Hoax before. So now Marty and Principal Angela arrive at Hoax's house, and she stays in the car
Angela Martinez.
while he goes around to have a look around the house.
I'm still not sure why these two are involved in
I
the
know.
storyline.
There's
at
no
all.
point. to
There's
either
no
one of
reason.
them.
Oh, I do. I don't. That's just popped in my head. Whenever she introduced herself, maybe back in the school or whatever, she's like, "Hi, I'm Angela." My girlfriend and I both at the same time said, "Angela," which is from Sleepaway Camp. If anybody's seen
yes,
that horror movie,
yes.
I don't know why we both did that.
Well, going along with the Alyssa Milano.
I thought you were
thing.
doing
Angela. Well, who's the boss going on?
That's better.
So
Jonathan.
so Marty finds some last work on the side of the house. He starts climbing up to the second story.
He's climbing the
Climb up.
lattice.
Yeah,
Climbing
and,
up the devil's weed.
Yeah, and
Or the devil's root.
You'll see, yeah, because that's a good point. He's climbing up, and you see they keep showing these plants with devil-like tails, like spiked tails. I guess
I thought it was just ivy because I wasn't.
that's
paying
the
close
devil.
attention.
That's the devil root that the
Mama
mom
makes the tea out of.
makes the tea with. But
That's
they
it.
keep showing it's like they're almost growing. It's like it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
really
yeah.
strange.
I just thought I wasn't paying enough. I thought it was ivy, but he's about to get to the like a bedroom window or something, where Marty just pops up in the window. Marty startles Marty.
scares Marty so much
He
that
loses his grip,
Mhm.
and he
falls about half a story,
yeah,
2 stories.
barely
his
that, and he
head,
and he gets
goes
knocked
concussed.
unconscious.
Yeah.
So now Angela Martinez gets out of the car and just walks in the front door.
Yeah.
She's like walks right
She
in.
doesn't wait. She doesn't wait at all. She's just like, you know
No.
what? Fuck it. I'm going in.
Yeah.
And the house now is all dark.
she
Everything's
smoked
in
her
a,
cigarette.
It's lit blue
Yes,
light. Like
yes. She smokes that cigarette down to the fucking nub.
Everybody. It's the 80s, so
Jesus
everybody's
Christ.
smoking. Like the only people that don't smoke in this movie are Hoax and Lucy.
Okay, for anyone who ever has smoked, I mean, when you smoke it down that far, it's oh god, like you gotta be addicted. It's like I'm getting every little last drag, you know. Oh, you know?
So when Angela walks in, the house is completely dark, but it's like lit in like a blue filter, like blue light, and everything in the house is covered in snow and ice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even one of the cats is frozen
Yeah.
by the fridge, which I
Yeah.
thought was funny.
Which goes back to Chris bringing it up
Yeah, when
earlier
hell
in
freezes
the locker
over.
room when hell freezes over. That's when I saw that. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh god. I was like, oh my god, that's it. That's why
Right.
they said that.
So, where were we? Yeah, so she hears Hoax calling out to her. And she's like, hey, come upstairs. I'm upstairs.
My mom's sick.
Like, and it's like the
yeah.
worst, obviously, fake voice.
Help,
Like,
Mom.
help me. Help me. It's like, any Rush would be like, yeah, this is a
Okay,
charade.
the
This
the
is not
first
real.
floor is frozen solid.
Exactly. Like, I would get the fuck out of there.
There are
If-
things scrawled on the wall that says "No mercy."
Yeah, huh?
Yeah,
You know,
death to all or something like that.
fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Go
I
to
wouldn't
hell,
even.
mama.
I'm gone.
Same thing. Like, I'm done. Just walk out. I'm-
Gone.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Fuck you, Marty.
Yeah.
I'm out.
So she goes up the stairs
Uh-huh.
and she goes and enters Lucy's bedroom, which is normal. There's no snow. There's no
Picture
ice.
of Jesus on the
Yeah.
door.
It's all lit up, nice. All the rest of the cats are in this room, and the curtains to the canopy bed are pulled. They're closed. And Angela approaches the bed. She pulls back the curtains, and we see that there's the form of somebody underneath the sheets.
Cats are chilling next to her.
And she pulls the sheets down, and we see Lucy's body, which has now been eaten by several of her cats. The
Awesome.
cats are eating her corpse. So I'm like,
I fucking
like
hate
if Aaron
cats.
ever dies in his apartment, Pip and Nabby have a delicious treat right for him.
I'm the only person who owns cats, I guess. Doug, do you own cats?
I had one once.
Yeah,
I don't
so
have one
I
now.
have cats.
I
Everyone,
had cats a long time ago.
everyone busts my balls about having
Oh,
cats.
God.
But anyway,
They're
yes,
filthy, filthy
They would
creatures.
eat me. And you know what? I don't care. This scene was hilarious. Because
So-
they pan on this cat's face. They make it
It
look
turned,
like...
it's like the dramatic gopher. Or
Yeah,
shit
and the
wood
cat
chuck.
just kind of looks cute. He's just like smacking his lips like, yeah, I'm eating this bitch.
It's
And
totally
then look,
fitting
it
too because
like,
when
turns his head and it's got like blood over its muzzle and whiskers. It's
when
like,
Hoax
yeah.
first like kills her, I was like, because I really liked her in the movie, you know, and I thought that was a weak ass
Lame.
death for her.
Exactly.
But then you see this, and I was like, all right,
Yeah.
brings it back together.
Yeah.
So she at that point she's like, all right, I'm getting the fuck out. She gets out. She goes out of the room, but she gets grabbed in the hallway by Hoax, and now he gets real creepy.
Wait. He's got a great one-liner. He's like, what? Cat got your tongue?
Yeah.
So he starts removing her coat, all creepy, like he gets really handy. Like I'm just waiting for her to like start grabbing her boobs or something like that.
And but it seems, and this now that we already have this information, it makes sense. It seems so unnatural,
Right.
Because he's kind of getting rapey on her, like, ooh, baby, yeah. And he's got that weird voice going for him too.
Yeah.
But it just seems like he's being forced to do this
Instead of going straight for her boobs or whatever, he starts licking her hand.
Yes,
I was like,
That's weird.
That's a weird move.
But he just pushes her down the stairs.
and she goes sliding down the stairs chest first,
Yeah.
like it's a fucking sled. you
Right,
know?
right. Like she's sliding
Now,
down.
to me, that didn't fit at all. Like, first he was like, "You're gonna be my goddess" or whatever, like,
Right.
and then he just throws her down the stairs.
Yeah, he's like, let's get it on. All right, we're gonna hit him. You know, I'm gonna take you. You know, and then just change your mind. I'm gonna throw you down the stairs.
So he starts descending the stairs after her, and this is where the house begins to shake and collapse into basically what we can assume is hell. It starts falling away into
A pit, like a
abyss.
bottomless pit.
Basically hell.
Yeah, but it's all frozen.
Yeah, it's all
all
a frozen
ice.
abyss. And Spike finally shows up again.
Yeah.
And he helps.
He's been gone for like 30 minutes.
He helps Marty up outside, and the two of them go into the house. And now the whole living room is a frozen hell. Or it's just fallen into
Like
frozen
a
hell. It's
frozen
giant
abyss.
Yeah, it's like
frozen
a
abyss.
giant
Yeah.
cavernous.
A bit, and just
Endless
it was
pit.
just these like this small little ledge around the walls to walk on or stand on. The principal, and this is where I finally realized her name was Angela for some reason. Finally,
Angela.
is she's hanging on a broken piece of the floorboard, like a broken floor, and she's hanging over the abyss. And Hoax is standing above her, and he looks like he's gonna try to help her, but he like drops her. Or I don't know, I get confused, but Marty basically helps Angela up because Spike confronts Hoax. He's like, "Hey, you!" And it's like, so Marty helps Angela up, and Spike has what looks like the worst gun I've ever seen
I
in
know.
a
It
movie.
looks like brass knuckles.
Yeah,
and
What?
I don't even know how to explain
I don't
how
either.
bad it doesn't look like a gun at all.
At all.
I didn't understand what it was.
I didn't either. At
Like,
first,
is this
yeah.
a blaster from a
It looks
science
like
fiction
you
movie?
see
Yeah, it
like
looked
an
like
old,
an air gun or
40s
something,
black
like-
and white sci-fi movie. They just see
Yeah.
like Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's like this little itty bitty metal pipe.
So
or
it's like
something with
brass knuckles.
on
Right.
it.
So it's like brass knuckles that go over his knuckles, and he's holding it, and it has this teeny tiny, the caliber is so small on
Yeah.
this. It's so
like,
small.
is this a homemade?
I had the
And
same
that's
thing, too.
exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Is this a homemade gun?
I had the same thing too. I was like, is that a gun? What the fuck?
What is he
At
pointing
first I
at
thought it was
him?
like it was like a sprayer. It's like a hose. Like, I was like,
Uh-huh.
is he
I
gonna
didn't
spray the
understand what it
hose?
was. I was like,
Right.
what's he going to do? What's he going to do? I'm like,
Like,
is it...
oh, it's brass knuckles.
Oh, that
No,
would have
they
been
just gotta-
hilarious if it was like a
Even
hose
for-
nozzle.
even for a minute, I even
like when
thought-
you're a kid, like I got my gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought for a minute, for a split second, I was like, is it a lighter?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. What if he shot it and a flame came out and he lit a cigarette right there,
That went to my
like
mind.
a non-filtered cigarette?
That
would have been
I used to
awesome.
have a gun that was a light. Like you pull the trigger and a flame would come out.
That's awesome.
So anyway, so he shoots Hoax.
It is a gun. It's a gun.
He pulls it and,
And let's just say,
it's
it's close range. All right.
Yeah.
This motherfucker is the worst
Worst
shot ever.
They're about
Because
3 feet, just out of
not
arm's
even
reach.
3 feet.
Just out of arm's reach.
yeah.
It
Just-
grazes Hoax's face. It does like rip his entire left cheek off.
Still.
But still, he should be right between the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
should be
distance.
dead center.
Um,
Unless it really is a shitty homemade gun and it just goes boom. Obviously, you don't see what's happening. It just
It
the
doesn't
bullet
shoot
just
straight,
shoots
it
off
shoots
straight
off
to the
the
left.
side.
So Marty and Angela tried to get away by climbing up the icy stairs. And again, why the fuck are they going up the stairs instead of out the goddamn front door? Which is directly behind them.
Yes.
Well,
It's
maybe
right
the floor.
behind them.
Maybe the only way out was up the stairs. Maybe the floor was collapsed. I don't
Even
know.
if it's collapsed, we
Show,
get the land.
yeah.
You walk in the front
Well, and
door
then
and you go straight up the stairs.
Even to get to the stairs, they had to walk across the one beam that
They
was
could've-
left. They had to
they
like
could've
tightrope
hopped.
walk.
Yeah.
They could have just made a little
Chandelier
hop
comes
across
down.
and out the door.
There were also a lot of windows,
yeah.
which they were smashing.
At this point,
in.
if I
I
had
like Chris is like, nah, they have to go upstairs.
if I had a handful of notes in my hand at this point, I would have just thrown them up in the air and let the papers fly away. At this point, like, why are you going out the goddamn window?
Hey.
And I would have. There's a second time coming where I would have done the exact same thing again.
Hey, I've
Maybe
gotten
the-
this far trusting Robert England. I'm going to continue to trust Robert.
Yes, you follow him. Maybe the plot was so deep that the only way out, Marshall, was to go back in.
I like the way you delivered that.
Thanks.
So anyway, Spike gets knocked down by Hoax, who then spits a fireball at Spike and just misses him.
But this is where he says that,
This is why this brings us back to that locker room scene. That's where I kind of it's the reverse of the locker room scene. But this fact that instead of spitting, like it's a goddamn fireball. It's not a big one, but it's a fireball.
Right.
He's like, guess what? Hell froze over. Yeah.
And so it goes.
That's what it does.
Yeah.
It's
Just
like
to
the-
say.
it's like the
Nintendo.
fireball in like Mario Blood. It's sort of
Yeah.
Yeah. Blip, blip. Yeah.
the fireball that Bill Goldberg spits in Santa's sleigh is more intimidating than
Yeah.
this thing.
I gotta watch this Santa sleigh.
It's awesome.
So upstairs, Martin and Angela are trying to escape by scaling across the bank teller tube
That pneumatic tube.
that leads from Hoax's room to Spike's guest house.
And at this point, I want to
and-
say, whoever constructed this motherfucker.
It's flimsy as fuck. And this looks
But it can obviously
so-
hold two grown
Two
adults.
grown adults.
so ridiculous
While
looking.
Hoops
though.
is shaking it.
And at first, I'm like, it took me a minute to figure out what this was because I wasn't sure exactly. Like, at first, I was like, is that a fucking phone pole or is like a. Like,
So
what
just
is
so the
this?
listeners realize, they're walking across it Home Alone style, like
Yes.
Kevin McAllister.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to imagine that they're getting out of. But they're walking, so hands up and then feet
Yeah,
down.
so they're holding on to a rope above, and their feet are on the plastic
Yeah,
tubing.
it's like shimmying across. We did this in boot camp in the
Yeah,
army all the
they're,
time.
they're
You shimmy
shimmying across, and this
But-
piping should not support two
No.
grown adults.
And why
What
was there
makes-
something above?
Yeah, that's the thing. Why would
That's what
there
I
be
was
something
wondering
above?
too.
Like,
They
I
had to
don't-
run some sort of a wire, maybe to support. I don't.
But what makes this even more
Can't
fucking
begin.
insane to me is that they're only on the second floor.
right, just
They're not
drop.
that high up. They could just drop down and run away.
You're quite
Good
literally
point.
fighting a demon.
Yeah,
My
that's
first thought is, I don't care if I break one leg. I got the other one. I'm gonna hobble
I mean,
away.
they're acting like they're up on this isn't fucking cliffhanger.
Right.
And they're acting like it's the highest, like, oh my God!
Though let's say you did jump out and you broke your leg, wouldn't you be pissed when what happens next when he
To me,
opens
the
up the
wor-
fucking ground?
It's
There's
not
fucking hellfire and brimstone.
Three
and shit.
stories, 4 stories up, maybe. Like, to me, it's like you drop, maybe you sprain an ankle or twist an ankle. It's like, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, we used to jump off my buddy's like,
Right.
one-story house
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not that. Yeah, they're it's not even on the top of the house. They're basically one floor up, really, because they're. Yeah, it's so infuriating. So Hoax easily spots them because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not hard to miss, and he starts shaking the thing.
He's laughing.
And
Think
la-
it's hilarious. He's like, ha ha ha.
And he's shaking the tube thing and the pole or whatever, and it causes them to slip. And so now they're possuming across the tube, which if anybody who doesn't know what possuming is, it's basically when you're hanging
Upside
underneath a
down.
rope and like you're hanging underneath and you're shimmying across. And Marty's yelling at Angela to hang on, and she's screaming for dear life. And it is to me, it's like they're making this out to that intense. It's like the goddamn scene from King Kong, where they're on like the tree log bridge, and King
Yeah,
Kong's like
yeah,
shaking
yeah,
them all.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody's saying, again, just fucking drop to the ground. Good God! Just drop and run.
Just drop, and go, ow.
Ow, ow. Okay, I'm gonna get to my car and drive away now. Anyway, but now Hoax causes the ground beneath him to rupture, and hellfire erupts from the fissure.
And it's not small. It's huge.
No, like the whole backyard is now a
whole
hellfire
It's this
abyss.
huge pit opens
I
up.
also noticed, like, none of the neighbors seem bothered by this. There's holes in each side, but nobody's like, what's going on out there? And he continues to shake the tube, trying to knock them off.
Well, maybe the neighbors know who Lucy is.
They're like,
"Oh,
fuck
shit."
this. I don't want anything to do with her. Hoax turns around to see Spike standing in the doorway, and Spike's like, hey, he tries to get Hoax out. He's like, let's have a heart to heart. It's like, come on, man, this isn't you. And Spike tells him like, hey, we can take that cross country bike trip you've always wanted with a couple of hot babes on the back, just like you always wanted, man. You and me will do this. And it seems to work for a second. And Hoax kind of like lets go of Spike. He's like, okay, all right, you and me, all right, we got this.
And he talks in his old voice.
He reverts his old voice. And like he hugs Spike. He's like, all right, they hug. And then the demon voice comes back and says, he's not going anywhere. He's mine now, or he's no longer here. And Spike's like, oh shit. And he runs forward and tosses Hoax out the window. And Hoax
so simply.
Yeah, so easily. And Hoax plummets into the fiery abyss of hell, which starts closing up as he falls further into the depths of hell. Cut back to the hotline warehouse where Mark Dark is sitting in his office eating a jelly donut and looking at a file with some black and white picture of some guy. And the phone rings and we hear the demon voice again as,
someone from Memphis.
Tim from Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah. And
they love me in Memphis.
And we see Dark place a picture of Hoax into the file. Roll credits.
So Mark Dark was up behind it the whole time, collecting souls through his 976 evil. Roll credits.
But why would the hell mouth open if Hoax could be killed by it and just thrown in there?
Because they weren't expecting Spike to throw him in
guess.
there.
The other thing I'm confused about is why it gave up so quickly on Spike.
Yeah, dude.
Because Spike immediately was the one who initially called the number, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we saw the guy in the very beginning get killed, right? We saw the girl.
Well, I guess
with the red shoes.
when Spike stopped, he didn't steal the gloves. He's like,
I think that's it. He stopped and he didn't listen.
And the bitch in Camaro tried to kill him, but I think that's as far as they could go with it because he's like, I'm not calling that number anymore.
So maybe
Fuck
these
that.
other people like did some of the
they
things.
listened to the
numbers
horoscope and followed the advice or something.
Yeah.
I think I kind
That's
of
what I'm
agree with that.
thinking.
So
what I'm
Spike
doing.
stopped just short.
Right.
Yeah.
That kind of bothered me. It's like, how come it didn't fucking follow Spike one bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. Like, I thought Spike was going to be more, but we got to move on. So we're moving on to favorite kills.
There can be only one. Favorite kill.
All right, now favorite kills.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
Well, there was a lot of death, but there wasn't a whole lot of
On-screen kill and stuff. So let's go clockwise for me. So we'll start with Chris. What was your favorite kill?
Well, I was gonna go with the one in the start with the guy with the electrocution and the blowing
exploding
up
phone
of
booth.
the
Yeah.
But I think I gotta go with Airhead.
Okay.
I mean, being impaled by a neon light, fucking.
Every time I sing, I just think of Simon
Pitchfork.
Garfunkel, Sound of Science.
I mean, as unrealistic as it is, I mean that neon light wouldn't hold my dick as opposed to like, you know what I mean? Like,
because it's huge.
You been looking at my window or something? What the fuck?
I have a giant telescope in my window.
Nailed it.
I just thought it was fucking funny as hell because, like, I don't know, it throws me. It's almost like Hoax is like jumping and clapping, like laughing, and like the whole time, you know. Plus, there's like a Freddy move, like where he like shoves his nails in the Airhead first, and then grabs him by the throat, and then impales him.
Yeah,
on
we don't see enough of it though. But all right, Aaron, favorite kill.
That was mine too.
All right.
That was the one I had lined up. I do like that. It was the applauding, like the giddy pleasure that Hoax got out of it. He's jogging in place, like clapping his hands after he just impaled Airhead on this ridiculous pitchfork, which I don't really remember seeing before. Like
It's there at the very beginning.
I remember kind of seeing it, but not to the point where you can impale somebody on it.
It's there, but
point.
in the very beginning, it's like straight up and down.
Yeah.
And then in this scene, it's obviously been bent inwards to hang over the roof so he can be impaled. Anyway, it doesn't make sense.
But yeah, that was my
Doug,
favorite kill.
favorite kill.
My favorite kill is when the car hit Spike and you didn't realize it, but he died, and the whole rest of the movie was a fucking dream because there's no other explanation than that.
It's like a Jacob's Ladder scenario, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I did like the girl with the spider because it
Susie.
was so unrealistic. Yeah. But all those, my thought was in real life, you saw the spiders crawling around, so they brought in like 27 tarantulas.
legit.
And I'm like, oh, how did they do? That's awesome.
I think they're
Spider
called
Wrangler.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think they're called spider wranglers.
in real
Or
life,
animal
the
wrang- yeah,
people.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
mouse or animal wrangler. They're all snake wranglers, whatever kind they have. Kind of
There must have been a cat wrangler too.
There would be a cat wrangler, cat.
Which would be a pussy wrangler.
Ooh.
Oh,
Which
Oh,
would
yeah.
not be hoax. Hoax is not a pussy wrangler.
I would love to have that business card.
pussy wrangler.
Pussy wrangler.
All right, my favorite kill. I hate all of them, but so I'm so disappointed because I didn't want this to be my favorite kill, but I'm going with what Chris. My original favorite kill is the opening kill with the guy, the ridiculous guy getting killed by an exploding payphone. Because to me, everything else fucking sucks.
Yes.
Airhead is probably my next one, and if Lucy would have gotten straight up killed by her cats.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
That would've
But
been cool.
Yeah.
that's not her death scene. She gets killed by slash across the face and her cat just ate her.
Yeah.
So that's not a death scene. So that's me. Favorite kill is
Doug has the smallest bladder in the world. I
Yeah.
swear to God.
There weren't too many to choose from.
No,
you know, 'cause
that's
you
what I'm
didn't-
saying. But all right, moving on to
Maybe Marcus with dysentery or something.
tetanus.
Yeah.
Moving on to odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
Okay, so starting with our ratings, IMDb gives it a 5 out of 10.
Of course.
Amazon
3.5.
3.9, very close.
Ooh.
Now Rotten Tomatoes, 9%
Yeah.
on Rotten Tomatoes
Ooh.
with a 28% audience
But it
score.
was only like out of 11 reviews or something like that.
But
right?
still, Rotten Tomatoes is bad, and that I like. You know what? That's got to be one of our all-time lows, and it's close. The only movies we've ever done that rank lower than this movie on Rotten Tomatoes are The Wickeds with 5%,
That's-
Jack Frost 7, and Shocker with 8.
Wow.
So this is number 4 on the all-time worst movies
One of
according
our,
to Rotten Tomatoes.
according to Rotten Tomatoes, this is one of our worst movies.
Plot keywords, nothing real fancy, but a lot of animal-related ones, which are weird. Like frog dissection, fragments of glass, fish, cat. Then it goes to telephone call, telephone number, phone number in title, number in title, and digit in title. So all you number fanatics out there looking for a movie, this is there you go.
Number files, numer files.
Well,
number-
Well, the title of the movie
number
is
5.
976 Evil. I mean,
Yeah. So nothing really good through plot keywords. Trivia. All right, there's actually a little bit of fun things. According to what I found, J.J. Cohen, who played Marcus, apparently has lost 30 pounds to play Marcus for this movie.
He lost weight to play the role that
Oh, Mark.
has the least amount of
He could
validity.
have been a fatter, heavier bully. Who cares?
What's the point?
Yeah.
Well, actually, Marcus was actually pretty.
Yeah, I was gonna say he looked
like he was in pretty
fucking
good
ripped
shape.
out, yeah.
Did he lose 30 pounds of muscle?
It just says 30 pounds. So I don't know.
Because he looks fit. You know, he
Yeah.
looks like he looks like he's the lead of the group, like a little muscly. He's the muscly guy. Yeah.
Right.
So
It's all counting all that money.
the exterior of the El Diablo Theater was actually just a model they made, which was 4 feet long and 2 feet high.
Oh.
So just a model.
Oh wow.
Now here's an interesting one. Marcus was originally supposed to be killed by being thrown off the roof of a building. So I'm guessing the theater
Probably.
by hoax. However, it had to be changed to get killed in the bathroom because of the low budget. So which is another reason why I probably didn't see it. They just had to improvise, say,
Right.
okay, we'll pan over. The scene where Aunt Lucy's being eaten by the cats, the dummy for her body was filled with chunks of tuna to get the cats to eat it. Now here's this devil, and I think we've covered most of this, but devil food stuff. We already talked about the devil twins snack
Right.
cakes. Spike's food is deviled egg sandwiches. The
Yeah.
diner's named Dante's Diner.
Yeah.
And then there was the Diablo Theater, which was the
Yeah.
Alice one.
Right.
So I want to say that I might be missing one, but there was a lot of devil references in there.
I think we like those are the big ones that jumped out to me. If anybody else noticed any other ones.
I didn't notice.
Full
anything, but-
disclosure, I do have a small bladder when I drink, but it's not been the bladder. It's been that Chris mentioned crank a couple times, and I had some in my pocket. So I'm taking a couple crank
Go
breaks.
get a little bump.
Jesus
Get a little
Christ.
bump.
Come on, guys.
Now, this is just a weird one. This is just poor editing and just somebody completely overlooked. But actress by the name of Mindy Seeger is credited in the opening credits. But when you look at the closing credits, she's not
there.
listed in the cast at all.
Who is she?
We don't know because she's listed in the opening credits. Mindy Seeger in the opening credits. It doesn't say who she is. Just her name's there.
She was probably cut out of the movie.
But then when you go to the closing credits, I went through every. She's not in the cast at all.
Speaking of poor editing, and this is something that I just kind of noticed, that opening scene where that guy goes to the telephone booth in the dark alley. Originally, it's a rotary dial. All right.
Oh.
But when he goes to grab it, it's a touch tone.
Wow.
Wow.
Good
There's
eye.
a lot of kids. There's also another scene where Spike dials the number outside the mechanic shop. It says dial 666. Where he goes, it's like beep beep bonk. So, so he doesn't actually have 666.
Yeah.
The third tone is different, so he doesn't hit 666.
So that's weird. Like they had to film that twice with two different phones. Like
I
why
guess.
did you even? Why
Right.
was there even
Right.
two phones on set?
Exactly.
Like, why not just have the one phone?
Exactly.
All right, moving on to
Unless
Our
they're
game
deliberately
show.
trying to put like whatever. Sorry,
moving
go
on to the budget game.
ahead. Oh shit.
Time for Aaron to blow his wad with the budget game.
Now, the budget game today is a little different because I could not find the actual budget information. So what I did find is we're going to play Guess the Gross. So
Oh.
how much money did this movie make in the theaters? So, everybody think of your number. Chris, what do you think this movie made in the theater?
Now does the winner get the blue Jello shot, which Chris already deserves? Really?
Yeah.
I have was not. We have two.
Can you give me anything that I can go off of here? I mean, like how long
What-
was it
what-
in theaters?
when was it
Where
released?
Was it released?
March 24th, 1989.
March 24th, 1989. Okay.
Most of these gross numbers I think are the first like 2 months of its
Okay.
release, so it's not like a whole lot.
All okay.
how many
I got you.
I know this is a little challenging. It's different because it's the only number I could find, so I thought we'd try it. Just I don't know, throw it out there. Take a guess.
We said it already. Like Rotten Tomatoes gave it like so it didn't get a good review
No.
at all.
Critics gave 9%.
What was audiences? What was audiences again?
Audience was I think 28 or 24,
28%?
28%.
So audience gave it 28%. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 9%.
9.
So the audience liked it better than
Critics.
the critics.
Again, this is also critics nowadays. Not
This
not
is
say Cisco.
1989.
89.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes now
Shit.
liked it. That there was no Rotten
This is,
Tomatoes.
I think
back
this is
then.
harder than like.
It might be.
the
Anybody else
budget.
have a number?
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take a guess. 1989, March, not a big movie month, but at the same time, horror films always do well. They always do pretty decent. They do more than the budget. My budget guess for this was probably going to be $1.5 million, so I'm going to guess $4 million for the gross.
Okay. Doug, do you have a guess?
God, something wants to make me go under $1 million. Like I feel like this movie didn't make $1 million
For the gross?
Could have been a bomb. Could have
in
been a
the
bomb.
theaters.
Wow. That's a big bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. I'll go. 999,000.
Nine.
$1 under $1 million.
9.9 thousand.
Yeah, I feel like it made right under $1 million
Okay.
profit.
Now, Chris, what's your?
All right.
we got
What did Aaron go?
4.
basically 4.
All right, I know Aaron blows his load, so I'm gonna cut that in half. I'm gonna say 2.
2 even. All right, 2 mil. This is a close call because you
it's
kind
3.
of split it in half.
It's a 3.
The gross was 2,995,917.
Hey, there's 2 Jello shots. They both do them.
We have 2 Jello shots, but the problem is the surprise gift I have for the winner of the budget game was a 1980s dial-up phone landline, complete with everything. So
it looks rotary, but it's touch
it looks rotary, but it's touch tone.
That is a great gift.
Found it at a
Picture
thrift
of
store
that.
today for $3.
Wow. Chris, do you have a landline?
I know.
I don't either.
You can put it on your mantle and enjoy it as a decorative conversation
We'll
piece on
share
your
it,
coffee
Aaron.
table.
You can
All right.
keep it for 2 months, but then I want it back after 2
Yeah.
months.
Deal.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
so
All right.
all right, they get their jello shots. Moving on to 5-star reviews.
These special movies have a place in these special people's hearts. 5-star reviews.
I only wrote down
Cheers.
4 from JGC. I love this movie. I remember watching it back in the day when it was shown on Up All Night,
Yes.
hosted by Rhonda Sear. Remember that show?
Mm-hmm.
I bring it up because Aaron and I talk about that all the time.
Fuck yeah, I remember that
love
show.
And
that
we
show.
could never remember who the girl's name was.
All I
Everybody
remember-
knows Gilbert Godfrey. But
All I remember were her tits.
All night.
blonde girl, yeah. So that's it. Anyway, the moral of the movie is not to call many payphone lines unless you're some geeky kid from the 80s who doesn't have anything better to do. 5 stars.
Well, he was looking at National Geographic to get his porn. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, poor
So
guy.
Bruce 5 feet. 976 Evil is pure gold. Sex and Satanism at its finest. 5 stars.
Sex and Satanism.
Oh, he is
Man.
drawing like some demonic pentagrams on his floor.
Yeah, I mean, but there
Anyway.
was whatever.
From a customer. 976 Evil is a fine B movie, though I did find some of the aspects of Satanism and satanic ritual to be biased, inaccurate, and geared simply for the movie viewing audience. 5 stars.
Now this is a real Satanist who's like, guys,
That's exactly
Yeah,
what I
right.
thought. Like,
Yeah.
get your-
That's what it sounds like.
which is why they might be anonymous on here.
do your research, guys. Get your facts straight.
That's not how you do a pentagram. It's not. You don't put the candles there. You put them over here.
Right.
Anyway, and from T. Anderson, 976 Evil. What a film! The most hilarious thing about this disgustingly low-budget masterpiece is that it makes the makers of this film actually took themselves seriously. The plot is terrible. The acting is even worse, but there are some memorable lines. 5 stars.
Hmm.
So that's it. Final thoughts. So bad's good. So bad scary. We got to start wrapping this up. We're going way over time. So, Chris, what's your final thought?
Where do you gotta be? What do you mean way over time?
Yeah, right.
What the
No
fuck?
shit. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the
Well,
listeners. You know,
I mean, immediately when I saw that it was directed by Robert Englund, I was like, awesome. You know, and the fact that it's late 80s, so we're right in the, like I said, the Nightmare on Elm Street wheelhouse.
yeah,
and,
right in the prime time, the peak.
And I don't know. I totally got on board right away. Within the first 3 minutes, the guy, gets blown out of the fucking
fingerless,
payphone.
fingerless gloves.
fingerless gloves, the phone, car phone, the whole thing. I say so bad it's good, man.
All right,
Honestly.
so bad it's good from Chris.
I watched it twice and it was awesome.
So I'm gonna go. I was watching it. I think the movie had potential. I think the editing let it down.
Sure.
The introduction of pointless characters that had no. Was he a PI? If he was a PI, what was he investigating? Who was he working for?
Who was he working
Was
for
he a
was the big
cop?
question.
Was he a guy who wrote for Mystic Magazine?
Yeah, why was he? Yeah, exactly.
What
They
the-
never established why he's there in the first
What
place.
the fuck was with the Marty character? Spike was generic and boring. The street toughs were awesome, but
It's only because you named them Street Toughs.
I think that's the only reason they were pretty
Come on,
cool.
goons.
And to be perfectly honest, I really like the actor who played Hoax. I like him.
Stephen
in-
Jeffrey.
I really liked him a lot.
Even
in,
after you know that he did like 50 gay porn movies.
Yeah, that's fine. But when he was in,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
okay.
In Fright Night, I loved him so much in Fright Night. He was fantastic in Fright Night, and I think he was doing pretty good in this. But it just wasn't. It just didn't. It didn't work together. It moved. It moved slow in the beginning and too fast at the end. So bad it's scary.
Scary for Aaron. All right, Doug.
I have to pretty much agree with Aaron that this guy, Stephen Jeffries from Fright Night, I've got an "Oh, You're So Cool, Brewster" t-shirt.
Yes, you do, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that character, and I've always wanted to see 976 Evil. So I was very glad that you told me you were doing this movie, and I don't think it deserves such the low ratings. It's an 80s horror movie directed by Robert Englund. That's what you're getting out of it. So, I mean, what's my options?
Good or scary? So bad it's good, so bad it's scary.
So bad it's good. I liked it. I had fun with it, and I could see myself watching it again sometime.
All right. I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm going so bad it's scary. I agree with Aaron. I had high hopes for because this is one, like you said, I always wanted to see. I remember from being a kid, I wanted to see it, get around to it. This movie just angered me in so many ways. So characters doing stupid shit like running upstairs and outdoor. The kill sucked.
You guys are jaded.
I feel my blood pressure rising just trying to think about this. I'm just I'm going so bad it's scary. So we are split 2-2 this week. So.
Now, it'd be interesting, and this is just real quick, if this was redone today with cell phones.
Oh,
How
Well,
would
the thing is, actually, there's this novel called Cellular or Cell, I think, written by Stephen King, which is vaguely this. It's about people who use and stuff comes through the cell phone airwaves and turns people into like crazy bloodthirsty maniacs.
Hello?
It's very similar, but I think it's a better story. But yeah, it could be made with cell phones. It's all right. There he is. We're split 2-2.
You decide, fans.
Yeah, if you want to watch it,
Listeners at home, if you've seen it, you decide. Let us know.
All right.
Absolutely.
One thing I meant to mention at the beginning, so anybody who's actually still listening, thank you, appreciate it. We will look out on our Facebook page and Twitters and website. We're getting ready to launch our March Madness of Horrible Horror March Movie Madness, where we will be taking all the horror movies we have done so far and putting them in a bracket to find out which is the worst of the worst that we've done so far.
That's a great idea.
So you can vote on them and give us your comments. We'll keep it updated on Facebook and our website and Twitter what movies are going head to head for each particular thing.
See, I'm gonna vote.
And there's a lot of them that we're kind of on the fence with.
We're about ready to fill out the bracket, so hopefully we're going to start that first week of February is our goal to get that started. So come March, we would crown our worst of the worst champion.
Your votes determine the outcome.
And if you don't vote, it's up to us, and we'll say, fuck you, we'll pick it based on what we think.
My vote is the houses in November build or October build.
Will this movie be in the brackets? We don't know yet. Maybe
I haven't
will.
seen that yet. As the worst movie?
Oh,
Is that pretty
God.
bad?
Oh, it's horrible. Anyway, follow us on Facebook. Follow
Also
us on our
Christmas
website, horriblehorrorpodcast.com. We're on Twitter at So Bad It's Scary. You can follow us on Podbean, horriblehorror.podbean.com. And subscribe to us, like us, check us out on YouTube. Share us, spread the word. We all free. We do it because we love this. We love you. We love our Moon Goons out there. So we will be back later. Until then, watch more horror movies. Take care, Moon Goons.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Later.